Chapter 610. Your Ling Xiao. The leader of the demon clan wanted to reprimand Ling Xiao, but when he saw Ling Xiao's face, he turned pale with fright. He had seen Ling Xiao fight in Two World City with his own eyes. The sixth saint had lost to Ling Xiao even with a supreme weapon. They were only in the noble realm, and Ling Xiao could probably kill them all. You want me to hand over the yin-yang mysterious spiritual wood? Ling Xiao said flatly. No. Sir Ling Xiao, I just want to ask if you can sell us the yin-yang mysterious spiritual wood? As long as you are willing, the price is negotiable. The demon clan youth shook his head and asked carefully. What do you want the yin-yang mysterious spiritual wood for? Ling Xiao stood up and asked flatly. An invisible aura spread. The leader of the demon clan youth was pale and cold sweat was about to break out. He did not dare to hide anything and told Ling Xiao everything. His Highness asked us to collect various sacred herbs. The yin-yang mysterious spiritual wood is one of them. I don't know what His Highness wants it for. The sky-scorching demon king? Ling Xiao said flatly. Tell the sky-scorching demon king that the yin-yang mysterious spiritual wood is here. If he wants it, he can come to me. With that, Ling Xiao turned and left without even looking at them. They were just a bunch of small fries. They were not worth his time. The leader of the demon clan youth wiped the sweat off his forehead and heaved a sigh of relief when he could no longer see Ling Xiao. Sir, the yin-yang mysterious spiritual wood has been taken by Ling Xiao. What should we do? A heavenly demon guardian said unwillingly. What should we do? If you can go and take it back from Ling Xiao. The demon clan youth rolled his eyes and said unhappily. Go and report to His Highness Han Feng. This is not something we can handle. The group turned and left to report to Han Feng. The sky-scorching demon king is plundering the sacred herbs of the demons St. Cliff. What is he trying to do? Ling Xiao was puzzled and felt that something was wrong. He urged the big radish to hurry in the direction of the Five Elements Lotus. The Five Elements Lotus was located in a hot spring in a valley, but when Ling Xiao arrived, the Five Elements Lotus was already gone. The Sky Demon Palace must have gotten there first. Let's go. I want to see what the Sky Demon Palace wants to do. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he headed towards the peak of the demon St. Cliff. The higher up the demonic St. Cliff, the more ancient killing formations there were. There were all kinds of spatial cracks and terrifying lightning everywhere. It was also the place where the quasi-divine medicines grew. Suddenly, Ling Xiao sensed the aura of the experts from the Sky Demon Palace. He flew into the divine stone and drove it towards the top of the demon St. Cliff. Above the demon St. Cliff, there were clouds and mist all around. The essence chi of heaven and earth poured down like a waterfall, dazzling everyone's eyes. Han Feng sat cross-legged amidst the boundless worldly essence. As he breathed, the boundless worldly essence fused into his body. Surprisingly, his cultivation was at the third level of the monarch realm. There were two quasi-exalt realm elders of the demon race standing guard around him, and they emanated powerful vital energy that was peerlessly powerful. As for the sky demon guards that Ling Xiao saw earlier, they were kneeling before Han Feng. What? Ling Xiao took the yin-yang profound spirit wood? Han Feng opened his eyes, and it seemed like flames were rising around him. His gaze was sharp, and it was like a nine-headed lion covered in flames had soared into the sky. Han Feng's true form is actually an ancient variant beast, the nine-headed flaming lion? Ling Xiao's gaze flashed as he thought to himself. The nine-headed flaming lion was one of the formidable divine beasts of the ancient times. According to legend, it was an existence that could fight a true dragon. No wonder Han Feng's status in the Sky Demon Palace was so high. That's right. Second Highness, Ling Xiao said arrogantly before he left that the yin-yang profound spirit wood is in his possession, and the First Highness has to go look for him personally if you want to take it. The young man who led the group spoke respectfully. You're courting death. Murderous intent flashed across Han Feng's eyes. He was already unhappy with Ling Xiao, and he did not expect Ling Xiao to be at the demon St. Cliff and snatch his sacred herbs. Han Feng, although Ling Xiao is arrogant, the First Highness will take care of him when the time comes. The most important thing for us now is to give these sacred herbs to the First Highness. With these sacred herbs, the First Highness will have a much higher chance of success. A quasi-exalt realm elder of the Sky Demon Palace said slowly. Elder is right. However, we have so many people searching, and even used several powerful secret treasures, but we only managed to gather about 20 sacred herbs. The efficiency is too slow. The Demon St. Cliff is fraught with danger, and the restrictions are too strong. In particular, those quasi-divine herbs are very slippery, and they can escape into those killing arrays. We can't do anything about it. Han Feng thought about it and said helplessly. Now, let's give these 20 sacred herbs to the First Highness. As for those quasi-divine herbs, once the First Highness succeeds, he can naturally take them back one by one. The Elder of the Sky Demon Palace said slowly. All right, I will personally deliver them. You guys stay and continue to search for sacred herbs. Try your best to capture those quasi-divine herbs as well. Han Feng sighed and stood up from the Demon St. Cliff. Rumble. At this moment, the Demon St. Cliff suddenly trembled violently, and a powerful and terrifying aura spread out. Black light rose and lightning surged, and the Demon St. Cliff looked as though it was about to crack open. The mountain peak in the distance cracked open, and an ancient tree surrounded by black lightning slowly appeared, emitting a monstrous demonic aura. Oh no, why did that guy suddenly wake up? Big Radish trembled, and a look of fear appeared in his eyes. This ancient tree, could it be the legendary heavenly demon divine tree? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. The heavenly demon divine tree was said to be a supreme divine herb, and it was born with spiritual roots. It contained the origin energy of the demon clan, and it belonged to the strongest demon saint of the ancient times. The heavenly demon divine fruit on the heavenly demon divine tree could allow the bloodline of the demon clan experts to evolve, raise their cultivation, and even comprehend powerful demon clan superpowers. That's right, it's the heavenly demon divine tree, but it should be called the heavenly demon divine tree now. This guy has been tainted by the demonic aura of the extraterrestrial demons and has turned into a half-demon, half-demon existence. It's extremely powerful. Let's go quickly or we're doomed. Big Radish trembled in fear and hurriedly urged Ling Xiao to escape. What's there to be afraid of? Don't worry, the heavenly demon divine tree won't be able to find us in this treasure of mine. Ling Xiao glared at it and then carefully observed the heavenly demon divine tree. Chapter 611. The heavenly demon divine tree was 100 feet tall and its bark was like a dragon's. It was covered in shiny black scales and its leaves were as black as ink. There were some black fruits on it that emitted a strange fluctuation that made one's scalp tingle. The heavenly demon divine tree's aura was monstrous as a black demonic light rose. It was extremely terrifying as it instantly locked onto Han Feng and the others and ran towards them. Bang, bang, bang. The ground shook as the heavenly demon divine tree shot out rays of black divine light that covered the sky. It contained an extremely terrifying power as if it was going to drown the Demon St. Cliff in an instant. The dozen heavenly demon guardians did not have any room to resist as they were instantly pierced by the black demonic light. Then, they were pulled back by the heavenly demon divine tree and swallowed. Oh no! Han Feng, hurry up and leave. We'll stop this demonic tree. The two elders of the heavenly demon palace were shocked. They immediately unleashed an extremely powerful aura as they charged towards the heavenly demon divine tree in an attempt to stop its attack. Han Feng gritted his teeth as a red jade talisman appeared in his hand. It emitted a mysterious spatial fluctuation. It's useless. These two old men are just sending themselves to their deaths. The heavenly demon divine tree is something that only honorables can fight against. Now that this guy has awakened, I'm afraid those guys in the holy ground are in trouble. Big Radish gloated. Cut the crap. Let's go. Ling Xiao gave him a slap. Seeing that Han Feng was about to escape, he immediately controlled the heavenly stone and turned it into a cloud of dust that landed on Han Feng's clothes. Boom. Although the two elders of the heavenly demon palace blocked the attack of the black divine light, they spat out a mouthful of blood as if they were struck by lightning. Their faces turned extremely pale. The heavenly demon divine tree was getting closer and closer. A black branch shot out like lightning and instantly pierced through the chests of the two elders of the heavenly demon palace. It began to devour their essence, blood, and primordial spirits. Han Feng was scared out of his wits as he quickly crushed the jade talisman in his hand. Immediately, a light door appeared in front of him and he entered it immediately. Boom! The heavenly demon divine tree extended another black branch, and with a loud rumble, the beam of light exploded. However, Han Feng had also completely disappeared into the void. Void Supreme Talisman? This guy has quite a lot of good stuff on him. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, the light in the void flickered and Han Feng appeared 10,000 miles away from the demon St. Cliff, arriving in an unfamiliar mountain range. Damn it! Han Feng's face as he knew the heavenly demon divine tree The heavenly demon divine tree was way too horrifying. Two half-step supremes were as weak as paper. The awakening of such a horrifying existence was a disaster for the powerhouses in the holy ground. He had to inform Demon King as soon as possible. At the thought of it, Han divine divine tree. Boom. Just then, a light flashed in the void and Ling Xiao flew out from the heavenly stone. His body emitted a monstrous power of blood and qi as he punched the back of Han Feng's head. Han Feng did not expect to enter the wolf's den after escaping from the tiger's mouth. He did not even see who had ambushed him. Instantly, his vision turned black and he fainted. Ling Zhao's punch had been accumulating power for a long time, but he had used it skillfully and only knocked Han Feng out. Otherwise, with Ling Zhao's terrifying physical body, he would have smashed Han Feng's head into mush with that punch. Hee, master, you're getting more and more sinister. I like it. Big Radish said with a sinister smile. Ling Xiao ignored him and searched Han Feng's body. Han Feng's storage ring, green armor, and even the powerful treasures in his primordial spirit were all taken by Ling Xiao. In the end, Han Feng laid naked on the ground with a look of disbelief on his face. Ling Xiao checked Han Feng's storage ring and realized that there were more than 20 supreme divine herbs, including the 5 elements lotus that he needed. Moreover, there was a void supreme talisman, which was a great treasure for escaping. Apart from that, there was also a crimson saber with a brilliant glow. It was a quasi-supreme weapon like the green armor on Han Feng's body. 9 Suns sky-opening saber. Qinggang armor. Apart from that, there were many pure yang pills and elixirs that could increase one's cultivation, as well as some miscellaneous items. However, none of them caught Ling Zhao's attention. Master, why didn't you kill him? Why did you put in so much effort to knock him out? Big Radish asked in confusion. You don't understand. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Since Han Feng was the second prince of the Sky Demon Palace, there must be something in his primordial spirit left behind by a supreme being expert. It would be fine if his life was not threatened. However, once Han Feng's life was threatened, the powerful killing move left behind by a supreme being would be triggered. Ling Xiao did not want to attract the attention of a supreme being expert. Let's go. Next time I see this kid, I'll beat him up. This guy is also a child of wealth. He and Zhao Ritian are brothers in the same boat. Ling Xiao smiled and could not help but think of Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian was extremely talented and had the holy body of the sun. It was not weaker than the Darkness bloodline and the 9 Nether bloodline, which were the top bloodlines in the world. However, this kid was extremely lucky. Every time Ling Xiao saw him, he would have a great encounter. Ling Xiao did not know where Zhao Ritian was now. He missed Zhao Ritian a little. No, he missed the treasures on Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao stripped Han Feng naked and left him where he was. Then he swaggered away. Before he had gone far, Ling Xiao heard an angry roar that shook the forest. It was filled with resentment and anger. Ling Xiao's lips curled into a smile as he quickly left the place. In a mysterious valley in the holy ground. The valley was shrouded in red clouds and flames were rising. There was not a single blade of grass growing in the surroundings. It was all bare rocks and the valley was filled with hot lava. Zhao Ritian sat cross-legged in the lava. There was a resplendent crystal floating in front of him. It was like a sun, gorgeous and scorching. It emitted streaks of crimson divine light that were slowly being absorbed and refined by him. The aura on his body was getting stronger and stronger. His blood flowed like a river, giving off a majestic and ancient aura. Zhao Ritian's cultivation had reached the pinnacle of level 9 noble realm. Behind him, a mysterious figure seemed to be appearing. The figure stepped on the sun, moon, and stars. Above his head was endless chaos. He was covered in inextinguishable flames, like an eternal flame god. Chapter 6:12. In an ancient palace. Chaotic qi lingered in the air as flames raged. The sky-scorching demon emperor sat in the middle, emitting a majestic aura. Behind him, there seemed to be a divine beast shrouded in flames, letting out an earth-shattering roar. The genuine qi in his body seemed to be burning as a violent gust of wind rose from the depths of his primordial spirit. Vaguely, there seemed to be 3 flowers above his head. 3 flowers at one's prominence, tribulation of the 4 symbols. In the void in the west, an ancient parasol tree was dazzling as if it was full of suns. It was surrounded by a world of flames. Behind Lin Hui, a fire phoenix soared into the sky, devouring the spiritual qi of the heavens and earth and the endless power of flames. His appearance was getting more and more handsome. With flames on his body, his skin was crystal clear, emitting a faint aura of a supreme being. Under the ground in the east, in a vast underground cave, there was a golden bone dragon that was 10,000 feet long, emitting a majestic bloodline aura, mysterious and majestic. Long Zhantian was coiled in the void, surrounded by rays of golden light. With dragon roars, there seemed to be countless rays of golden blood rushing out from the bone dragon, merging into Long Zhantian's body. Long Zhantian was getting more and more majestic. There seemed to be a golden divine dragon in his eyes, surrounded by a mysterious aura. There seemed to be an ocean boiling in his body. Endless black waves swept across, causing the genuine qi in his body to melt rapidly, giving birth to a powerful dragon force. As the Supreme Being's aura spread, Long Zhantian became even more unfathomable. In various parts of the holy ground, there were many supreme opportunities that appeared, which were occupied by various peerless geniuses, causing their cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds. After Ling Xiao and Big Radish robbed Han Feng, they left in a swaggering manner. Ling Xiao's ears suddenly twitched as he heard the sound of a great battle ahead. Let's go and take a look. Ling Xiao instantly entered the divine stone and turned into a speck of dust, flying towards the mountain ahead. Ling Xiao was getting more and more used to using the divine stone. It could be said that it was a supreme weapon for murder, arson, robbery, and escape. If the divine stone turned into a speck of dust, it would remain a speck of dust. Even a supreme being expert would not be able to tell the difference. The sounds of battle came from a valley in front of them. When Ling Xiao rode the divine stone into the valley, he saw a group of elders in white robes. Each of them had a powerful aura. Under the leadership of a young man in white, they had surrounded a few people. Ling Xiao's gaze shifted. He realized that he knew all of the people who were trapped. The great elder of the Precious Treasure Pavilion, Chen Tong, the saintess Su Mainyang, and 2 other half-step Supreme Being elders. However, the 2 half-step Supreme Being elders were already at the end of their rope. As soon as Ling Xiao arrived, the 2 half-step Supreme Being elders were killed by a blazing sword radiance. A supreme weapon? Ling Xiao's eyes trembled as he looked at the white-robed young man's hand. It was an ancient silver sword that emitted a bright light. It was as if there were endless starlight falling on the sword. It looked ancient and mysterious. Su Mainyang, stop struggling. In order to deal with you, I even brought the great demon subduing array. In addition to this dubhy ancient sword, even if you have the Jiushao Huan Zither, how long can you last? The white-robed young man smiled faintly as if victory was already in his hands. He looked to be in his 20s. He was handsome and had a jade-like face. However, his lips were very thin, which made him look a little mean. He was already a half-step Supreme Being. The 8 white-robed elders who surrounded Su Mainyang and Qin Tong were also half-step Supreme Being elders. The 8 white-robed elders occupied 8 directions. Each of them had an ancient divine demon subduing talisman floating in front of them. The 8 divine talismans converged to form the great demon subduing array, which was constantly pressuring Su Meinyang. Clang. A strange sound of a zither rang out, causing faint ripples to appear in the void. An ancient zither was placed in front of Su Meinyang. It was emitting a bright red glow. Su Meinyang kept plucking the strings of the zither. The sound of the zither turned into a mysterious barrier that shrouded her and Qin Tong. However, Su Meinyang was not in a good state. Her face was pale and there were bloodstains at the corners of her mouth. The barrier formed by the Jiushao Huan zither was being compressed by the great demon subduing array and was getting smaller and smaller. Zhang Shuhao, you are really despicable. If you didn't launch a sneak attack with the Dubhe ancient sword, how could the great demon subduing array stop me? Su Meinyang said as she stared at the white-robed young man with cold eyes. Su Meinyang, I advise you not to waste your time. Why don't you just be the saintess of the treasure pavilion? As long as you are obedient, when I become the sect master, you will be the sect master's wife. Zhang Shuhao was not angry at all. Instead, he smiled faintly. The Zhang family is full of wild ambitions. The treasure pavilion was originally established by the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. The Zhang family is just the steward of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. In the end, you took advantage of the great calamity 10,000 years ago and killed almost all the powerhouses of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. All these years, you have been plotting to seize the treasure pavilion's property. You have been swallowing resources wantonly, cultivating loyal followers, and eliminating dissidents. If it weren't for the fact that my old ancestor is still alive, I'm afraid you would have completely annihilated the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Su Meinyang's eyes were cold and filled with monstrous anger. She originally wanted to take advantage of the opening of the Holy Ground this time to find the inheritance of the ancient Nine-Tailed Fox clan's powerhouse and prove her Tao as the supreme. She also wanted to find the treasure that could prolong the life of her old ancestor. However, she did not expect that the Zhang family would be aware of her intentions and send Zhang Shuhao to assassinate her. If it weren't for the 2 elders who had blocked the fatal blow for her, she would have been seriously injured if not killed by the Dubhe ancient sword. Zhang Shuhao smiled faintly and said, Su Meinyang, although the treasure pavilion was established by the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, if it weren't for my Zhang family's maintenance over the years, I'm afraid it would have long declined and then been divided by countless powerhouses. Speaking of which, you should thank my Zhang family. As long as you marry me, won't we be a family? But, Su Meinyang said coldly, it's intolerable for a slave to bully its master. How can you say that? Zhang Shuhao, even if I die today, I'll kill you. A trace of determination flashed in Su Meinyang's eyes. She was incomparably sad. She originally thought that she could change the fate of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan with her own strength. However, she did not expect that she would still fall in the end. Boom! An incomparably powerful aura erupted from Su Meinyang's body. It was as if a raging fire had risen around her. The Jiushao Huan zither shone brightly and the zither music shook the world. Waves of air swept across the sky and rushed toward the great demon subduing array and Zhang Shuhao. Burning your life essence? Crazy woman, you're really crazy. Chapter 613. Boom. The heavenly pivot ancient sword in Zhang Shuhao's hand shone brightly. It was as if there was a dazzling star in the 9 heavens, shining brightly with the heavenly pivot ancient sword. Zhang Shuhao swung his sword, shaking heaven and earth. It was as if the sky was about to explode. Around Su Meinyang, the boundary formed by the sound of the guqin shook violently. Countless runes exploded, and Su Meinyang's face instantly turned pale. However, her eyes were filled with determination. A cold, murderous intent shot up into the sky. The 13 guqin strings were vibrated by her at the same time. It was as if they had turned into 13 huge waves that rushed toward Zhang Shuhao. I didn't expect precious treasure pavilion to fall to such a state. Are they using their slaves to bully their masters? These people from the Zhang family really deserve to die. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply. He had long known that precious treasure pavilion was founded by the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. However, he didn't expect Precious Treasure Pavilion to be divided into two factions and the Nine-Tailed Fox clan to fall to such a state. Ling Xiao originally didn't intend to meddle in other people's business. However, he had a good impression of Qin Tong. More importantly, the heavenly pivot ancient sword in Zhang Shuhao's hand. 10,000 years ago, Ling Xiao had 7 true disciples. He used countless treasures of heaven and earth and combined the power of the 7 supreme stars to forge 7 supreme divine swords. They were named after the 7 stars: Heavenly Pivot, Merak, Fekta, Migrez, Alioth, Mizar, and Alcade. The owner of the Heavenly Pivot ancient sword was Ling Zhao's eldest disciple, Mu Linfeng. However, the Heavenly Book ancient sword had fallen into Zhang Shuhao's hands. Perhaps he could find Mu Linfeng's whereabouts through Zhang Shuhao. 8 wilderness demons subduing formation? If it were any other formation, it would be fine. However, since you've used the formation I created, you can only blame yourselves for being unlucky. A sharp glint appeared in Ling Zhao's eyes. The 8 wilderness demons subduing formation was created by Ling Xiao in his previous life. At its peak, the 8 wilderness demons subduing formation required the cooperation of the 8 great supremes. Even titled supremes were no match for it. The 8 wilderness demons subduing formation laid by the 8 titled supremes was said to be able to slay gods and demons. However, there were no deities for Ling Xiao to test in his previous life, so he didn't accomplish the feat of slaying deities. Boom! Ling Xiao instantly appeared from the divine stone. The devouring sky sword in his hand emitted a blazing divine light. Like a flying immortal, he flew across the sky, emitting a 5-colored divine light. He slashed towards a white-robed old man. In order to break the 8 desolation great demon subduing formation, one would have to break through one of them. However, Zhou Tian, one of the 8 experts, was one. Attacking one of them was equivalent to attacking all 8 of them. However, Ling Zhao's 5 elements heaven sealing style isolated the 5 elements and formed a world of its own. It nurtured a shocking killing intent and instantly enveloped one of the white-robed elders. What? Zhang Shuhao's expression changed. He was fighting Su Mainyang with the Dubhe ancient sword in his hand. Just as he was about to suppress Su Mainyang, reinforcements suddenly appeared. A kid in the noble plane? You're courting death. Out of the corner of his eye, Zhang Shuhao noticed that the man was only of the 9th level of the noble realm. He sneered and his eyes were filled with disdain. A mere noble plane cultivator wanting to break through the great demon-subduing matrix was simply a fool's dream. Ling Xiao. Su Mainyang and Qin Tong also saw Ling Xiao. Their bodies trembled, and their eyes revealed a trace of incomparable joy. However, they were also worried. The 8 desolation great demons subduing formation was set up by 8 half-step supreme martial artists. Would Ling Xiao be able to turn the situation around? Boom! Just then, the 5 elements divine light exploded and formed a vast 5 elements enchantment that enveloped the white-robed elder. With a flash of blood, Ling Zhao's sky-devouring sword pierced through the elder's chest. What? The half-step supreme martial artist elder was scared out of his wits. He could not imagine how a kid in the noble plane could break through the defense of the 8 desolation great demons subduing formation and injure him severely. Go to hell! The white-robed elder's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. His terrifying cultivation erupted and he slammed his palm toward Ling Zhao's head. This palm contained the power of wind and thunder. It was as if it could crush a mountain. The horrifying palm print pressed down on Ling Xiao. Die! Ling Xiao said indifferently. The light of the sky-devouring sword changed again and the 6 paths of reincarnation erupted. Countless blazing sword radiance gushed out and formed the 6 paths of reincarnation wheel. It instantly shattered the palm print of the white-robed elder. Boom! The power of this sword was unparalleled. The white-robed elder's head was chopped off by Ling Zhao's sword. The sky-devouring golden lotus rolled up and devoured the elder's primordial spirit. What? The expressions of the other 7 white-robed old men and Zhang Shuhao changed greatly. From the moment Ling Xiao attacked to the moment he killed the white-robed old man, he had only used 2 slashes to kill a half-martial highness in an instant. This is a good chance. Su Mainyang's eyes flashed. The 8 Desolation Great Demon subduing formation had a flaw after the death of the white-robed elder. She suddenly spat a mouthful of blood essence on the Jiao Shao Huan zither. The sound of the zither was loud and dazzling. Rumble! Blazing lightning erupted from the Jiao Shao Huan zither and instantly turned into terrifying bolts of lightning that drowned the remaining 7 old men in white robes. The terrifying lightning swept across the void and filled the air with a powerful supreme martial artist's aura. Su Mainyang's blood essence had completely activated the power of the supreme weapon, the Jiao Shao Huan zither. The 7 elders looked as if they had been struck by lightning. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and their faces turned pale. They were directly sent flying by the sea of lightning. Even though they were half-step supreme martial artists, they were like paper in front of a real supreme weapon. They couldn't withstand a single blow. What a pity! Su Mainyang's eyes revealed a trace of pity. However, she also knew that even if she had consumed her blood essence to activate the full power of the Jiao Shao Huan zither, it was already very difficult to achieve such a result. After all, she was not a real supreme martial artist. Little bastard, you deserve to die. Zhang Shuhao was also in a difficult situation. The Dubhe ancient sword in his hand shone brightly and broke the lightning in the sky. He stood together with the other 7 half-step supreme martial artists and stared at Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. He didn't expect a young man in the noble realm to have such terrifying combat strength. Saint, he is Ling Xiao, the one who killed South Celestial Venerable and the 3 stars of Star Palace in Heavenly God City. A white-robed elder whispered to Zhang Shuhao. Ling Xiao? Zhang Shuhao was shocked. However, he immediately sneered and said, so what if he is Ling Xiao? Does he think he can be arrogant just because he broke the 8 Desolation Great Demon subduing formation? Kill him. Zhang Shuhao's voice was filled with murderous intent. He pointed the Dubhe ancient sword at Ling Xiao and took the lead to attack Ling Xiao. Rumble. Chapter 614. At this moment, Su Mainyang and Qin Tong were both seriously injured, especially Su Mainyang. She had used her essence and blood to activate the Jiao Shao Huan zither several times and had reached her limit. She could no longer fight. Their faces were filled with worry. Although they knew that Ling Xiao was extremely talented and had unparalleled combat strength, Zhang Shuhao was no ordinary person. Together with the 7 white-robed elders, they were 8 half-step supreme masters. Not to mention that Zhang Shuhao had the Dubhe ancient sword. This sword was extremely powerful and contained a peerless killing intent. It could communicate with the power of the Dubhe star and was extremely terrifying. With such a lineup, even a supreme master who had survived the tribulation of 4 symbols might die without a burial place, let alone Ling Xiao, who was only in the noble realm. Slash! Following Zhang Shuhao's roar, starlight fell from the sky like shooting stars. They turned into the sharpest sword radiance and gathered around the Dubhe ancient sword before slashing down at Ling Xiao. Looking at the Dubhe ancient sword above his head, Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with nostalgia. The Dubhe ancient sword was the head of the 7 supreme swords of the Big Dipper. It was also the most powerful ancient sword. Its original owner should have been the eldest disciple, Mu Linfeng. Bastard, how dare you? A sharp glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. It was as if there was a thunderous roar in his voice, and a mysterious fluctuation spread out. The Dubhe ancient sword that was slashing down at him suddenly trembled and emitted a wave of both joy and fear. The sword radiance in the sky stopped in the void as if it did not dare to descend. What? Zhang Shuhao's expression changed and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The Dubhe ancient sword did not dare to descend after Ling Xiao's roar? Why was this guy so strange? Who was he? Su Mainyang's eyes were also filled with shock. She knew the origin of the Dubhe ancient sword very well. Moreover, it had been completely refined by the patriarch of the Zhang family. How could it stop because of Ling Xiao's roar? Buzz. The Dubhe ancient sword struggled violently. The sword shone brightly as if there was a mysterious figure with white hair and beard trying to suppress the Dubhe ancient sword. The Dubhe ancient sword was originally refined by Ling Xiao, and the sword's spirit within it was condensed from the star essence of the Dubhe star. It could be said that Ling Xiao was its parent. But now, the Tianshu ancient sword had been refined by the Zhang clan's patriarch. Therefore, under the confrontation between its parents and its master, the Tianshu ancient sword didn't seem to know whose command it should listen to. Come back. Zhang Shuhao was so frightened that his body trembled. He quickly recalled the Dubhe ancient sword and did not dare to take it out again. Ling Xiao was simply too strange. He actually almost made this peerless ancient sword betray him. However, without the Dubhe sword, Zhang Shuhao had lost his most powerful offensive weapon. How dare you steal my Dubhe ancient sword? No matter who you are, you're dead meat. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He could see a mysterious primordial spirit brand within the Dubhe ancient sword. That should be the Zhang family's supreme old ancestor. Ling Xiao was still unable to erase the sovereign's mark on the ancient Dubhe sword, but one day, he would snatch it back. Even without the Dubhe ancient sword, you will still die. Kill him. Zhang Shuhao's face was very ugly. A mere noble realm brat had caused him so much trouble. Not only did he kill a half-step supreme being, but he also almost made the Dubhe ancient sword betray him. Zhang Shuhao felt a sense of danger. He had to kill Ling Xiao, or there would be big trouble in the future. Boom! A light flashed in Zhang Shuhao's hand, and a red ancient sword appeared. It was only a quasi-supreme weapon, but its sharpness was unparalleled. Its aura was extremely shocking, and it slashed towards Ling Xiao across the sky. The other 7 white-robed elders also made their moves, bursting forth with their terrifying cultivation. The 8 half-step supreme beings attacked together. The power was almost enough to shatter the galaxy and return the world to chaos. Even Ling Xiao felt a strong sense of threat in his heart. 8 half-step supreme beings? Very well, I'll use you guys as my sword testing stones. Let's see where the limit of my combat strength is. Ling Xiao's expression was very calm. The battle intent in his eyes shot up to the sky. Golden light shone brightly around him, and a terrifying aura shot up to the sky. Boom! The sky-devouring sword seemed to have felt the battle intent from Ling Xiao, and it also trembled with joy, emitting a peerless sharpness. Ling Xiao soared into the sky, and his aura surged. He used the greater teleportation technique and appeared in front of Zhang Shuhao in an instant, slashing his sword towards Zhang Shuhao. Kill! Zhang Shuhao's eyes were blazing with killing intent. The red ancient sword in his hand shot out thousands of rays of light, and he met Ling Xiao's attack head-on. Clang! The blazing sword light swept across the sky, and the surrounding mountains rumbled. Pieces of mountain rocks were sent flying, and countless towering ancient trees were turned into dust. Ling Xiao and Zhang Shuhao were both sent flying back at the same time. What a pure sword intent! Ling Xiao's eyes moved. This Zhang Shuhao was actually a sword cultivator, and his strength was unparalleled. He was only a half-step supreme being, but he had already comprehended the art of man and sword as one. His spirit wandered the heavens, and his sword was unrepentant. A white-robed elder charged towards Ling Xiao from behind, holding a machete. His muscles were bulging and he slashed down with extreme force. It was as if he wanted to split Ling Xiao in half. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with killing intent. The sky-devouring sword slashed at the machete, and a storm of sword aura erupted. How sharp was the sky-devouring sword? Although the machete was a quasi-supreme being weapon, it was instantly damaged, which made the white-robed elder's heart ache. Kill! Ling Xiao held his sword, and his battle intent surged. He stabbed his sword towards the white-robed elder's forehead like a bolt of lightning, and its sharpness was unparalleled. The white-robed elder's expression changed, and he blocked with his machete. Only the sound of metal clashing could be heard, and sparks flew in all directions. An unparalleled divine force erupted. The white-robed elder was instantly sent flying as if he was struck by lightning. Rumble! The sky-devouring sword in Ling Xiao's hand fell from the sky, and the 4 elephants' sky striking style exploded. The 4 elephants' divine light soared into the sky, and the surrounding heaven and earth seemed to revert to chaos and order. He wanted to completely kill the white-robed elder. Ling Xiao, don't be so arrogant. Behind Ling Xiao, the 6 white-robed old men moved together, forming an extremely mysterious battle formation. They attacked Ling Xiao from 6 directions: east, west, north, south, up, and down. This was the 6 directions heaven and earth formation, which gathered the strength of 6 half-step supreme beings. They wanted to completely kill Ling Xiao. Rumble. Chapter 6:15. Oh no, it's an afterimage. Zhang Shuhao's expression changed drastically. Just how fast was Ling Xiao? He was able to escape from the encirclement of 6 half-step supreme beings. At this moment, Ling Xiao wielded the sky-devouring sword and slashed down at another white-robed old man. Rumble. Heaven and earth shook violently as the blazing sword radiance swept across the land. A blazing sword radiance soared into the sky, traversing a distance of 30,000 miles and directly killing the white-robed old man. Blood splattered everywhere as countless divine lights exploded. Even the white-robed old man's primordial spirit was turned into ashes by the sword radiance. His soul was completely destroyed. The first one. Ling Xiao said indifferently as he raised his head to look at Zhang Shuhao. Ling Xiao, don't be so arrogant. Fight me if you have the ability. Zhang Shuhao was mad with hatred as his black hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were filled with blazing killing intent as he charged towards Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao refused to fight him head-on. Instead, he pounced on the other 6 white-robed old men with the sky-devouring sword in his hand. Zhang Shuhao's battle prowess was extremely strong, far from what the 6 white-robed old men could compare to. Ling Xiao wanted to kill the 6 white-robed old men first, and then find Zhang Shuhao to fight. When the 6 of them are dead, it'll be your turn. Don't be anxious. Ling Xiao said indifferently as he slashed his sword across the sky. Blazing killing intent erupted from his body as a peerless sharpness filled the air. He's actually so strong? Su Mainyang and Qin Tong's eyes were filled with disbelief. The current Ling Xiao was much stronger than when he was in Heavenly God City. Even a half-step supreme being was like chopping vegetables in front of him. Although they had just become half-step supreme beings and had yet to pass the tribulation of 4 symbols, they were still half-step supreme beings. They were much stronger than ordinary sovereigns. However, they couldn't even withstand a single blow from Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, use my Jiao Shao Huan Zither. Su Mainyang shouted at Ling Xiao as she wanted to throw her Jiao Shao Huan Zither to him. The Jiao Shao Huan Zither was a supreme being weapon with unparalleled power. If Ling Xiao activated the power of the Jiao Shao Huan Zither, he would definitely be able to kill Zhang Shuhao and the others. At the same time, Su Mainyang also swallowed a healing elixir and hurriedly circulated her energy to heal her injuries. No need, you can keep it for yourself. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Su Mainyang had yet to recover from her serious injuries. With the Jiao Shao Huan Zither in her hands, Zhang Shuhao and the others would not dare to find trouble with her. Su Mainyang was extremely intelligent. Naturally, she understood Ling Xiao's intentions immediately. However, even though she knew that Ling Xiao had good intentions, she was still extremely displeased to be rejected so straightforwardly. Rumble. In the sky, the battle between Ling Xiao and Zhang Shuhao and the others was getting more and more intense. Heaven and earth shook, and the sun and moon lost their light. The huge mountains in the surroundings collapsed with a loud bang, and countless rocks flew everywhere, turning into dust. Huge gullies spread out on the ground. Those were the marks left by the peerless sword Qi. The 6 half-step supreme beings seemed to have learned their lesson. They no longer dared to attack Ling Xiao alone. Instead, they formed a battle formation and combined their strength to fight fiercely with Ling Xiao. On the other hand, Zhang Shuhao's sword intent condensed around his body. Every time he attacked, he would erupt with a peerless attack. The power of a sword cultivator completely erupted, causing a great threat to Ling Xiao. In this way, hundreds of moves had passed. The battle between Ling Xiao and the 7 people seemed to have reached a stalemate. Zhang Shuhao and the 6 white-robed old men became more and more shocked as the battle went on. A mere noble realm cultivator already had such terrifying combat strength. How terrifying would he be when he broke through to the monarch realm, or even half-step supreme being? Could it be that he was going to be like those peerless experts in the ancient times, who had the power to go against the flow and kill supreme beings before becoming a supreme being? Let's decide life and death with a single sword strike. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he instantly soared into the sky. He already knew the limits of his combat strength, so there was no need to continue this battle. Boom! Ling Zhao's body shone brightly. Golden clouds filled the air, and a terrifying aura surged into the sky. Behind him, chaotic aura filled the air. A giant golden dragon and a 5-colored phoenix flew into the sky, presenting a mysterious vision of the dragon and phoenix. At this moment, Ling Zhao's physical strength had reached its peak. The surrounding void trembled as if the world was about to be shattered by Ling Zhao's aura. Ling Zhao slashed out with his sword. Heaven and earth shook as a 10,000-foot-long divine sword swept across the sky. The divine light of the 4 symbols rose, the power of the 5 elements filled the air, and the shadow of the 6 paths of reincarnation filled the air. Heaven and earth were born with a sword, and reincarnation was born with a sword. Ling Zhao's sword merged the first 3 moves of the 7 limits divine technique of devouring heaven and earth. It swept across the sky towards Zhang Shuhao and the 6 white-robed old men. What? Zhang Shuhao and the 6 white-robed old men's expressions changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with horror. Under this sword, heaven and earth turned into chaos and the void shattered. They felt a fatal danger. Block it! Block it for me! The 6 white-robed old men roared in unison, and the blood in their bodies began to burn. The power of the 6 people seemed to fuse into one at this moment, transforming into a terrifying giant shield that met Ling Zhao's sword. Rumble! Sword chi surged around Zhang Shuhao. The ancient crimson sword in his hand also turned into a 10,000-foot-long divine rainbow and merged with him. He and the sword became one and slashed at Ling Zhao fiercely. Rumble! Ling Zhao's eyes were cold. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His sword traveled 30,000 miles across the sky and directly slashed at the giant shield. Suddenly, heaven and earth rumbled, and large patches of the void shattered. The giant shield only managed to resist for a moment before it exploded. The vast sword light drowned the 6 white-robed old men. Instantly, blood splattered everywhere. It was extremely tragic. The 6 white-robed old men's bodies were directly blown into ashes. Clang! The terrifying sword light swept across the sky and collided with Zhang Shuhao's sword at the same time. Endless sword force exploded. Kacha! Zhang Shuhao's ancient crimson sword was instantly cut in half by Ling Zhao. Zhang Shuhao also abruptly spat out a mouthful of blood. The state of one with the sword was broken, and he also suffered a huge backlash. He was abruptly sent flying for several hundred feet, ruthlessly smashing into a distant mountain peak. The power of a single sword was so great. Ling Zhao stood in the air. His black hair fluttered in the wind. Dragons and phoenixes circled around him. His golden blood rushed into the sky like smoke signals. His eyes were brighter than the starry sky. He stood with the sword in his hand. His body was incomparably sharp, like a peerless sword god. No one dared to look at him directly. With a single slash, the bodies of the 6 half-step supreme beings were destroyed. Zhang Shuhao was also seriously injured. Even Su Mainyang and Qin Tong were stunned. They didn't even dare to think about such an outcome. So, this is Ling Zhao's real combat strength? The primordial spirits of the 6 half-step supreme beings rushed out instantly. Their eyes were filled with incomparable fear. However, when they looked at each other, they revealed a trace of determination. Chapter 6:16. Saint, run. We'll hold him back. Holy Sun, run away. The 6 half-step supreme being primordial spirits roared at the same time. Their bodies were instantly engulfed in blazing flames. They were like 6 blazing suns as they charged towards Ling Zhao. Oh no, they're going to self-destruct. Su Mainyang's expression changed drastically. She didn't expect the 6 of them to be so loyal to Zhang Shuhao. They were willing to risk their lives to create a chance for Zhang Shuhao to escape. How terrifying was the self-destruction of a half-step supreme being? Not to mention the self-destruction of 6 half-step supreme beings at the same time. That kind of power could probably turn this land into ruins. You want to die? Do you think you can die in front of me? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed coldly. The sky-devouring golden lotus instantly flew out from his body. Streaks of golden chains of order swept across the sky, binding the 6 primordial spirits and pulling them into the sky-devouring golden lotus. With the sky-devouring golden lotus around, it was impossible for them to self-destruct even if they wanted to. No! Zhang Shuhao roared. His face was covered in tears. The 8 half-step supreme beings were all loyal to the Zhang family. They were also his most loyal guards. It could be said that they had watched him grow up. In the end, they were all killed in this battle. Ling Xiao, I swear that I'll kill you. Whether it's your family or friends, your parents, or your family, I'll make sure they die without a burial place. Zhang Shuhao glared at Ling Xiao with incomparable hatred. He decisively crushed the Void Supreme Talisman and instantly left this place. However, Zhang Shuhao's deranged voice still reverberated between heaven and earth, carrying an incomparably cold killing intent and hatred. Zhang Shuhao? Since you're courting death, don't blame me. Ling Zhao's eyes blazed with killing intent. Leaving such a venomous snake alive would cause problems sooner or later. Ling Xiao had already made up his mind. The next time he met Zhang Shuhao, he would definitely take his life. Ling Xiao descended from the void. Su Mainyang and Qin Tong both looked at Ling Xiao with surprise and gratitude. Ling Xiao was about to say something when his eyes suddenly flashed. He said, "Let's leave this place first. Someone's coming." The sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from afar. The battle here was too intense. Although the holy ground was very vast, the surrounding people were still alarmed. Ling Xiao didn't want to attract too much attention, so he quickly left with Su Mainyang and Qin Tong. The land within a radius of 1,000 miles had already turned into ruins. In this battle, several large mountains were turned into dust. The ground was forcefully shaved off by several dozen feet. A river flowed in reverse, turning this place into a lake. Ling Xiao and the others passed through several mountain ranges and flew for over 1,000 miles before stopping at a mountain peak shrouded in clouds and mist. Many thanks to little friend Ling for saving my life. This old man greets you. Thank you, young Master Ling. Qin Tong and Su Mainyang bowed deeply to Ling Xiao. There's no need to be so courteous. The great elder and I are old acquaintances. But how did you get ambushed by Zhang Shuhao? Ling Xiao waved his hand. At the same time, he was a little puzzled. Su Mainyang smiled bitterly and said, "Now that my 9-tailed fox clan is declining, Zhang Shuhao bribed one of the elders who followed me. So, he lured me into Zhang Shuhao's great demon-subduing array." Su Mainyang was a little embarrassed. Her pretty face blushed. She had always prided herself on being resourceful. She didn't expect that she would fail miserably and be tricked by her subordinates. At the same time, Su Mainyang also told Ling Xiao about the enmity between the 9-tailed fox clan and the Zhang clan. Ling Xiao had been hiding in the Celestial Stone and already knew about this. He was quite emotional. The precious treasure pavilion was an old martial holy land that had lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. It was founded by the 9-tailed fox clan of the demon clan. The bloodline of the 9-tailed fox clan originated from the divine beast 9-tailed celestial fox of ancient times. The number of tails represented the concentration of the bloodline of the 9-tailed fox clan. Moreover, the 9-tailed fox clan was naturally resourceful and kind to others. So, they had already integrated into the human clan and displayed great talent in business. That was how they were able to open the precious treasure pavilion all over the war god continent. However, Ling Xiao didn't expect that the current 9-tailed fox clan would only have a severely injured old ancestor left. Their position in the precious treasure pavilion was precarious, and they were forced to such an extent by the Zhang clan. However, the reason why the 9-tailed fox clan's powerhouses had withered was because of the catastrophe 10,000 years ago. Countless powerhouses fought bloody battles, which made Ling Xiao feel a sense of respect for them. Ling Xiao, I really didn't expect your talent to be so monstrous. You killed 8 half-step supreme beings in a row, and even Zhang Shuhao was severely injured by you. However, you have to be careful. Zhang Shuhao is vengeful and is one of the most outstanding geniuses of this generation of the Zhang clan. If you draw out the supreme being powerhouse behind him, you'll be in danger. Su Mainyang looked at Ling Xiao worriedly. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, Fairy Su, you worry too much. Since I've taken action, I'm not afraid of the Zhang clan's revenge. Anyway, I've already offended quite a number of martial arts sanctuaries. I'm not afraid of one more precious treasure pavilion. Chen Tong and Su Mainyang were stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ling Xiao was right. Star Palace, Nantian Family, Emperor Tu Mountain, and Sky Demon Palace had all been offended by Ling Xiao. However, this guy was still alive and kicking. However, Su Mainyang also knew that this was because most of the Supreme Being powerhouses were traveling in the extraterritorial star world and hadn't returned to the God of War continent. Otherwise, if a Supreme Being were to take action, Ling Xiao would have to pay with his life. Great Elder, quickly return to Green Hill and tell the old ancestor about what happened in the Holy Ground. Tell him to be wary of the Zhang clan, but don't take any action. Wait until I return. Su Mainyang said to Chen Tong with a solemn expression. All right, I'll return now. Chen Tong also knew the seriousness of the matter. Before he left, he looked at Ling Xiao earnestly and said, My young friend, my young lady has yet to recover from her injuries. The Holy Ground is full of danger. I hope you can take care of her. I'll be eternally grateful. Chen Tong bowed deeply to Ling Xiao. Great Elder, you're too polite. I'll do my best. Ling Xiao smiled and helped Chen Tong up. Chen Tong looked at Ling Xiao gratefully and took a deep breath. He then turned and walked toward the exit of the Holy Ground. Fairy Su, how are your injuries? Ling Xiao looked at Su Mainyang and asked. It had to be said that Su Mainyang was an outstanding beauty. She was naturally charming and her every move was filled with endless charm. Ling Xiao was full of praise for her. Perhaps only Yuetian and Phoenix Girl could compete with Su Mainyang. Thank you for your concern, young Masterling. I've taken a healing elixir and my injuries are under control. I'll be completely healed in a day or two. Although Su Mainyang's face was a little pale, she was in good spirits. Young Masterling, I have a matter that I hope you can help me with. Su Mainyang's big eyes seemed to be filled with water. Her long eyelashes fluttered, and she had an irresistible pleading look. Oh, what's the matter? Chapter 617. I would like to ask young Masterling to help me to the Nine-Tailed Fox's land of inheritance. Only by obtaining the Nine-Tailed Fox's inheritance can I take back the precious treasure pavilion and save my Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Su Mainyang looked at Ling Xiao pitifully. The Nine-Tailed Fox's land of inheritance? Is it in the Holy Ground? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered as he asked softly. That's right. The Holy Ground is the final resting place of the demonic sages. It is also the place where countless ancient mythical beasts died in battle. There are many mythical beasts' inheritances here. Although many of them have been taken away in the past million years, the Nine-Tailed Fox's inheritance is still intact here. Su Mainyang said slowly, all these years, we have been secretly exploring the Holy Ground and finally found the Nine-Tailed Fox's land of inheritance. However, it is full of danger. We failed many times and still couldn't get it. You can't get it and you believe that I can help you? Ling Xiao smiled. Young Master Ling is talented and powerful. Moreover, you are a righteous person. If there is anyone who can help me, it is you. I believe in you. Su Mainyang smiled faintly. Moreover, the Nine-Tailed Fox's land of inheritance has an innate soul essence. When Ling Xiao heard the words innate soul essence, he was shocked. He looked at Su Mainyang and asked, Is there really an innate soul essence? An innate soul essence was a spiritual body born from the origin of heaven and earth. It was unfathomable and was the best weapon spirit. Using an innate soul essence as a weapon spirit could forge a weapon that could evolve. It was extremely magical. However, an innate soul essence was too rare. It was only a legend in the God of War continent. When Ling Xiao forged the sky-devouring sword in his previous life, he only used the souls of powerful demonic beasts as weapon spirits. If he could get his hands on an innate soul essence, not only could his sky-devouring sword gradually recover its power, it could even surpass his previous life and become an even more powerful supreme weapon. That's right. Su Mainyang was extremely smart. She was afraid that Ling Xiao would not agree, so she threw out the bait of the innate soul essence. All right, let's not delay. Let's go. Ling Xiao took in a deep breath and agreed. He didn't agree to help Su Mainyang because of the innate soul essence. Even if he didn't have the innate soul essence, he wouldn't have rejected her for Qin Tong's sake. It was just that the connate spirit essence was too precious. Even Ling Xiao had not obtained such a treasure in his previous life. The inheritance of the nine-tailed fox is in the land of the fallen gods. Su Mainyang and Ling Xiao soared into the sky and flew towards the distance at an extremely fast speed. As she hurried along, she introduced the location of the nine-tailed celestial fox's inheritance to Ling Xiao. Land of the fallen gods? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. The land of the fallen gods could be said to be one of the most dangerous places in the holy ground. It was said that it was the place where the fallen gods had fallen. The void there was extremely unstable, and there could be spatial turbulence and spatial storms at any time. Moreover, there were many divine Dao dangers. Someone had once stepped on a drop of black divine blood and was instantly turned into ashes. Someone saw the demonic saber that had a mind of its own. It went berserk and hacked dozens of people. Countless experts died in the land of the fallen gods. There was also an ancient divine array there. Although it was broken, the danger was not reduced at all. If one accidentally entered the divine array, even a supreme being would find it difficult to escape, let alone an expert of the imperial path. However, there were also people who had obtained powerful martial arts inheritance, terrifying divine weapons, and even the blood essence of the fallen gods. Their cultivation had improved tremendously from then on. It was no wonder that the nine-tailed fox clan had not been able to obtain the nine-tailed celestial fox's inheritance for so long. It was because the inheritance was in the land of the fallen gods. The nine-tailed celestial fox must have been a powerful divine beast in the ancient times. It would not be easy for a true expert of the fallen gods to obtain its inheritance. Therefore, Ling Xiao also started to become serious. Big Radish, do you know anything about the land of the fallen gods? Ling Xiao asked Big Radish as he took it out. Land of the fallen gods? You want to go to that godforsaken place? If you want to die, don't bring me along. I still want to live for a few more years. Big Radish, who was originally bored to death, was taken out by Ling Xiao. When it heard the words land of the fallen gods, it shuddered and said hurriedly, I know that the land of the fallen gods is very dangerous. However, aren't you a local here? Don't tell me that you are afraid of the land of the fallen gods? Ling Xiao smiled and said. Su Mainyang also looked at Big Radish in surprise. This strange Big Radish looked like a spiritual medicine. However, a spiritual medicine that could speak, could it be the legendary divine medicine? Su Mainyang was shocked. She felt that Ling Xiao was unfathomable. Big Radish laughed bitterly and said, Dangerous? The land of the fallen gods is not just dangerous. That is the land of the fallen gods. It is very scary. I have only been there a few times and almost died in there. Big Radish's face froze. Suddenly, it wanted to give itself 2 big slaps for spilling the beans. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. You have been to the land of the fallen gods? That's great. We will leave our safety to you. You can scout ahead. Big Radish's face was filled with tears. Who asked it to have such a big mouth? Great, this malefic star wanted to take its life. Don't be unwilling. There is an innate soul essence in the land of the fallen gods. If there is an extra one, I will reward you with one. After swallowing the innate soul essence, you will probably be able to evolve into a divine medicine, right? Ling Xiao slapped Big Radish and said, 1 won't do. At least 10. Big Radish said seriously. Ling Xiao was so angry that he was amused. He slapped it again. We haven't even seen the shadow of the innate soul essence and you are already bargaining. Hurry up and scout ahead. Big Radish was hit by Ling Xiao until it was in tears. However, this guy did not learn from his mistakes. Once it thought of the innate soul essence, it agreed as if it was injected with chicken blood. Fairy Su, where is the land of the fallen gods where the land of the fallen gods is? Ling Xiao asked. Su Mainyang immediately took out an ancient map and said with a smile, "This is the land of the fallen gods that we have explored. Young Masterling, you don't have to be so polite. Just call me Mainyang." Alright, then you don't have to be so polite. Call me Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao took the map and threw it to Big Radish with a smile. Then I will call you Brother Ling. Su Mainyang smiled faintly. Ling Xiao rolled his eyes. This Su Mainyang really knew how to take advantage of the situation? He was only 18 years old. No matter what, Su Mainyang was older than him. Yet, she was not embarrassed at all. Brother Ling, the fallen gods of the fallen foxes have a long lifespan. In terms of the lifespan of the human race, I am only 15 years old this year. Su Mainyang seemed to have seen through Ling Xiao's thoughts and said with a smile. Tianfeng Canyon? Can the two of you stop flirting with each other? The land of the fallen gods is actually in this godforsaken place? I advise you not to go there. It is too dangerous there. Chapter 6:18. Tianfeng Canyon? What's that place? Ling Xiao asked. Tianfeng Canyon is deep in the land of the fallen gods. It's a very strange canyon. Tianfeng winds howl there all year round, and the air is filled with chaos. That kind of Tianfeng is comparable to the third tribulation of the four symbols of a half-step supreme being, the Tianfeng tribulation. It's extremely terrifying. Even a half-step supreme being would be blown to smithereens. Why don't we not go? We'll really die. Big Radish looked at Ling Xiao pitifully. Tianfeng tribulation? The Tianfeng tribulation is triggered by the heaven and earth. It's a tribulation that targets the primordial spirit of a half-step supreme being. Why would it appear in a canyon out of nowhere? I'm afraid there's a formation there? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. Su Mainyang nodded and said, "That's right. The heavenly wind tribulation wasn't formed out of thin air. According to our speculation, it was formed by an ancient divine formation. A senior of our nine-tailed fox clan once entered the Heavenly Wind Canyon with a protective treasure and explored the aura of the nine-tailed heavenly fox. However, he was unable to reach the final step of the inheritance. Since it's a formation, there must be a way. Let's go take a look first. Big Radish, lead the way." Ling Xiao decided. In his previous life, Ling Xiao was the most powerful person in the world. Not only was his combat strength peerless and his talent unparalleled, but he had also cultivated the elixir, weapon, and formation skills to the supreme being realm. Ling Xiao's attainments in formations could be said to be unparalleled. In his previous life, he had seen many ancient formations and even deciphered some of their secrets. Hence, he wasn't afraid of the so-called ancient formations. The land of the fallen gods was located in the west of the holy ground. It was shrouded in a layer of faint black light all year round. The air of death permeated the air, and not a single blade of grass grew. The world was dark and the void was trembling. There seemed to be cracks in the nine heavens. All around them was a vast land with lonely barren mountains standing on the ground. Broken weapons and corpses could be seen everywhere. However, after countless years, those seemingly powerful weapons had long lost their divinity and became scrap metal. Those corpses were incomparably huge. Ling Xiao saw 1,000 feet long skeleton lying on the ground in front of him. It looked like a divine bull. There was a huge hole in its abdomen, and its head was missing. Obviously, it was left behind from the ancient war of the gods. Such huge skeletons could be seen everywhere. As he walked forward, Ling Xiao even saw the corpses of true dragons, true phoenixes, white tigers, Qiongqis, and countless other powerful divine beasts. Although so many years had passed, those skeletons were still covered in a layer of mysterious brilliance, surging with killing intent. Ling Xiao felt that if he dared to approach, he would be instantly attacked by the baleful aura and would not be able to escape death. On the barren mountain, there were black bloodstains. That was the blood of a deity, and it seemed to have been contaminated by some kind of power. The enormous mountain range was corroded into a small hill. The big radish trembled as it led the way at the front. Its face was dejected. However, he had been to the land of the fallen gods a few times before. Hence, he was able to lead Ling Xiao and Su Meinyang into the depths of the land of the fallen gods. Along the way, Ling Xiao felt a few fatal threats. There were powerful broken divine formations and strange divine spirits, but they were all avoided by the big radish cleverly. The sky ahead was dark and the earth had collapsed. There was a chilly wind howling, and a huge canyon appeared. There were barren mountains on both sides. From afar, Ling Xiao could faintly see that there were a total of 81 barren mountains around the canyon. Only the canyon in the middle was like a meandering dragon that led to the depths. That is the Tianfeng Canyon. However, I have never seen it before. The Tianfeng Canyon is extremely terrifying. You must be careful. When the big radish saw the canyon and heard the terrifying chilly wind howling, it was so frightened that it quickly ran back and jumped onto Ling Xiao's shoulder. That's right. This is the Tianfeng Canyon. Su Meinyang revealed a surprised expression and said slowly, in the Tianfeng Canyon, the most terrifying thing is the Tianfeng trial. However, I have brought the Jiushao Huan Zither this time. As long as we activate the power of the Jiushao Huan Zither, we will be able to enter safely. Ling Xiao frowned slightly and said, in your current state, can you still activate the Jiushao Huan Zither? Although Su Meinyang's injuries had recovered by more than half, it would be very strenuous for her to continue activating the Jiushao Huan Zither. I should be able to hold on for 6 hours. 6 hours is enough for us to enter the Tianfeng Canyon. Su Meinyang smiled and said, 6 hours, huh? No way. Even if we enter the Tianfeng Canyon, if we encounter any danger, we are still counting on your Jiushao Huan Zither. Ling Xiao shook his head and looked at the big radish maliciously. The big radish felt a chill down its spine. It looked at Ling Xiao warily and said, why are you looking at me with such maliciousness? Cough cough. Big radish, contribute a drop of divine liquid. A drop of divine liquid is enough for Su Meinyang to recover her lost life source. Only when her injuries are healed can she activate the Jiushao Huan Zither. Ling Xiao coughed dryly and said, what? The big radish jumped up immediately as if its tail had been stepped on. It looked at Ling Xiao angrily and said, you shameless Ling, it's bad enough that you asked me to scout the way. Now you want my divine liquid? No way. The big radish felt very wronged. Was this the treatment of a supreme divine medicine? Whoever obtained a supreme divine medicine would treat it like a treasure. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, asked it to scout the way and did not care about its life or death. Now, he wanted its divine liquid. Although the big radish was a great bright king ginseng, a supreme divine medicine, it only had a dozen drops of divine liquid in its body. It was an existence that gathered the essence of heaven and earth. It was like the essence of blood in a human body. It would take a long time to recover a drop of it. Ling Xiao chuckled and said, big radish, we are already here. When we find the innate soul essence, you will be able to evolve into a supreme divine medicine. What is a mere drop of divine liquid? In the end, under Ling Xiao's coercion, the big radish reluctantly contributed a drop of divine liquid. Buzz. A drop of golden divine pearl flew out from the big radish's body. It looked bright and resplendent, and its fragrance overflowed. The big radish immediately became a little listless, and it looked a little listless. Meinyang, the big radish is a quasi-divine medicine. Swallow this drop of divine liquid, and your injuries and lost life source should be able to recover immediately. Ling Xiao gave the drop of divine pearl to Su Meinyang. Brother Ling, you are too good to me. I really don't know how to repay you. Su Meinyang's pretty face was slightly red. She looked at Ling Xiao with her big watery eyes, which were full of gratitude and smiles. Her red dress fluttered, and her towering breasts rose and fell with her breathing. Her figure was curvaceous, and her entire body exuded a different kind of charm that made one's blood boil. Chapter 619. You're welcome. Hurry up and heal your wounds. We still have to go to Tianfeng Canyon. Ling Xiao said with a calm expression. Su Mainyang looked at Ling Xiao with some resentment, as if blaming him for not understanding her feelings. She took the divine liquid and swallowed it. Boom! All of a sudden, a majestic life essence surged forth. Su Mainyang's entire body was glowing with radiance. Blood qi filled the air. Behind her, a gigantic fox vaguely appeared. Its 8 furry tails shot up into the sky, blooming with divine splendor. 8 Tails bloodline? Ling Zhao's eyes moved. Su Mainyang's bloodline was indeed extraordinary. If she really obtained the inheritance of the 9-tailed celestial fox, she might be able to evolve into the 9-tailed celestial fox and become a true 9-tailed celestial fox with the body of a divine beast. A true divine beast bloodline would definitely have the terrifying combat strength to go against the flow and challenge those of a higher level. Long Outyin, for example, had the bloodline of a true divine beast, the true dragon. His combat strength was unparalleled and terrifying. The divine liquid of a quasi-divine medicine was extremely precious and contained the power of creation. After Su Mainyang swallowed the divine liquid, a powerful force erupted from her body in just 2 hours. Her skin was crystal clear, and blood qi surged. Her body exuded a faint supreme divine aura. Although Su Mainyang's cultivation had reached the half-step supreme realm, she had not gone through the tribulation of 4 symbols. However, with the help of the divine liquid, if Su Mainyang was willing, she could quickly go through the tribulation of earth and become a half-step supreme being. Alright, let's go to Tianfeng Canyon. Su Mainyang stood up and smiled at Ling Xiao. At the same time, a light flashed in her palm, and the Jiao Shao Huan zither appeared in her hand. Let's go! Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. The huge canyon in front of them was like the mouth of an Archean giant beast. It was pitch black, but there were waves of chilly winds howling. It was extremely terrifying. Even from afar, they could feel the cold aura. It made them shiver as if it was going to cut them into pieces. Around Tianfeng Canyon, there were many powerful skeletons that exuded monstrous killing intent. Clang. The Jiao Shao Huan zither emitted a red glow. Along with the sound of the zither, ancient runes flew out and formed a bounded domain, enveloping Su Mainyang and Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang walked into the Tianfeng Canyon together and were swallowed by the howling Tianfeng tribulation. Just as Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang entered the Tianfeng Canyon, a group of uninvited guests arrived at the fallen god land. Brother Zhang, are you sure Ling Xiao entered the land of the fallen gods? The sixth saint's eyes flashed as he asked Zhang Shuhao, who was beside him. That's right. Brother D, Brother Nantian, Ling Xiao and that bitch Su Mainyang want to obtain the 9-tailed celestial fox's inheritance. It's in the land of the fallen gods. I only want that bitch Su Mainyang. Ling Xiao and his belongings are all yours. Zhang Shuhao's eyes were filled with cold killing intent as he spoke slowly. Other than Zhang Shuhao and a black-robed elder, there was also the Nantian Heavenly King and 2 other elders of the Nantian family. The 6 of them were all at the half-step to honorable realm. Their strength was unparalleled. After Zhang Shuhao escaped, he met the 6th saint and the Nantian Heavenly King. They were searching for Ling Zhao's whereabouts. They hit it off immediately and decided to kill Ling Xiao in the land of the fallen gods after Zhang Shuhao provided them with Ling Zhao's whereabouts. Young Master Zhang, you said that Ling Zhao's shout was enough to make the ancient Dubhe sword in your hand freeze? It seems like this lad's identity is very suspicious. The black-robed elder beside the 6th saint said slowly. Elder, have you guessed something? Zhang Shuhao's body trembled as he asked hurriedly. According to what I know, the ancient Dubhe sword in your hand was forged by the strongest person in the world 10,000 years ago, the sky-devouring Supreme. He gave it to his eldest disciple, Mu Linfeng. Therefore, only the sky-devouring Supreme and Mu Linfeng can scare the ancient Dubhe sword with just a shout. Perhaps even Mu Linfeng can't do it. The black-robed elder's eyes lit up. What? Elder, You said that Ling Xiao is the sky-devouring supreme from 10,000 years ago? I don't think that's possible, right? The sixth saint and Zhang Xuhao both shuddered as disbelief filled their eyes. What's impossible about that? How could someone of the sky-devouring supreme's level die so easily? Perhaps he could be reincarnated. However, even if Ling Xiao isn't the sky-devouring supreme, he must be related to the sky-devouring supreme. Perhaps he has the inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme. The black-robed elder said slowly. The sixth saint and the South Sky King's eyes lit up. The inheritance of the sky-devouring supreme? The sky-devouring supreme was the strongest person in the world 10,000 years ago. It was said that he was a peerless expert who had touched the immortal realm. What if they could obtain his inheritance? The sixth holy son, the southern heavenly king, and the others were all excited. Moreover, Ling Xiao was suspected to have the inheritance of the scarlet dragon war god. Therefore, no matter what, Ling Xiao must die. Zhang Xuhao's eyes lit up as he said, no matter who Ling Xiao is, he's only in the noble realm. With so many of us and 2 supreme weapons, we can definitely kill Ling Xiao. The sixth saint had the King of God's shroud, and the South Sky King had also brought the supreme weapon of the Nantian family. Other than helping the sky-burning demon emperor, they were also going to kill Ling Xiao. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go. The black-robed elder nodded as a strange look appeared in his eyes. The group quickly entered the land of the fallen gods. Rumble. In the Tianfeng Canyon, horrifying winds howled as they contained the power to destroy everything. The surrounding rocks were left behind by the Tianfeng tribulation for countless years. The corpses on the ground were the strongest ferocious beasts and divine beasts. Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang went deeper into the canyon. The barrier formed by the Jiushao Huan Zither trembled slightly under the Tianfeng tribulation. Big Radish's face was filled with fear as it clutched Ling Xiao's clothes tightly. They had already been in the canyon for 6 to 4 hours, but they still had not found any trace of the 9-tailed celestial fox. Su Mainyang's face turned pale. Activating the Jiushao Huan Zither for a long time was quite a burden for her. At this moment, she was even more grateful to Ling Xiao. If it was not for Big Radish's drop of divine liquid, she would not have been able to hold on until now. Buzz. Chaotic qi began to rise in the surroundings as a strong sense of danger appeared in Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang's hearts. The Xianhuang qi rose in the surroundings as black waves surged. The Tianfeng tribulation howled and there were scenes of flames soaring into the sky. The 4 tribulations of earth, water, wind, and fire filled the air as they intertwined and formed an ancient formation. This is the ancient divine formation. Ling Xiao, the inheritance of the 9-tailed celestial fox, is in the ancient divine formation. However, this ancient divine formation is extremely terrifying. Countless experts of the 9-tailed fox clan have died in this ancient divine formation. Su Mainyang said with excitement and worry. Rumble. The ancient divine formation in front of them formed a space of its own and evolved into various mysterious phenomena. Chaotic qi rose as though countless scenes of the birth and death of worlds appeared before Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang. Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang stood there. Although they were enveloped by the barrier of the Jiushao Huan Zither, Ling Xiao still felt that a terrifying danger would befall them if they took a wrong step. It's actually a complete ancient divine formation. Chapter 620. And it's a formation that targets the primordial spirit. Ling Xiao's eyes were sharp. No wonder he sensed danger. Even if he had the Jiushao Huan Zither, his primordial spirit would be instantly obliterated by the formation if he took a wrong step. That's right. Su Mainyang looked at Ling Xiao with some admiration and said, this ancient divine formation, let's call it the soul-destroying divine formation. The ancestors of the 9-tailed fox clan have explored it for generations, and countless people have died in this formation. We can always feel the aura of the 9-tailed celestial fox in the formation, but we have never been able to break the formation. That's strange. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a strange look. He said, if the 9-tailed celestial fox is really in this soul-destroying divine formation, it means that the formation was left behind by it. It should have left the Nine-Tailed Fox clan with a chance of survival. However, the experts of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan have all died, so there is only one possibility. This soul-destroying divine formation was set up to trap the nine-tailed celestial fox? Su Mainyong trembled and said with some shock. This soul-destroying divine formation should have been set up by the nine-tailed celestial fox because there is the aura of the nine-tailed celestial fox's bloodline in this formation. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His attainments in formations were very strong, and he had come into contact with many ancient divine formations 10,000 years ago. Therefore, he could tell that the person who set up this ancient divine formation must be the nine-tailed celestial fox. Then why did the ancestors of the nine-tailed fox clan die in it? Su Mainyong asked with some disbelief. Ling Xiao said slowly, because this soul-destroying divine formation is no longer the original soul-destroying divine formation. To be exact, it has been tampered with by someone else. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. Tampered with by someone else? Su Mainyong was a little shocked. Someone who could tamper with the ancient divine formation? Could it be an enemy of the nine-tailed celestial fox? It should be a supreme expert among the extraterrestrial demons. Ling Xiao said slowly with a trace of coldness in his eyes. When Ling Xiao entered the ancient divine formation, he felt the tremor of the wordless heavenly book, which was a special aura emitted by the extraterrestrial demons. Extraterrestrial demons? Su Mainyong's body shook, and her expression turned solemn. She suddenly remembered that the nine-tailed celestial fox should be a figure from 1,000,000 years ago. The nine-tailed fox clan inherited the bloodline of the nine-tailed fox, but they knew very little about the history of 1,000,000 years ago. They only knew that 1,000,000 years ago, perhaps like 10,000 years ago, the extraterrestrial demons descended and set off a shocking bloody war. Countless god beasts fell, and countless god spirits died in battle. That battle dyed the heavens red, and all living creatures died. From then on, the war god continent entered a dark age. If it was really the extraterrestrial demons who had done something, perhaps it would make sense. After all, the original intention of the nine-tailed fox to leave behind the divine formation was for the descendants of the nine-tailed fox clan to be able to obtain the inheritance. It should not be like now, where countless experts of the nine-tailed fox clan had been killed by the divine formation. Be careful, follow me. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he took the first step. Rumble. It was as if the god-slaying grand array had been triggered. Endless chaotic fog surged and streaks of black demonic light filled the sky. They contained extremely terrifying killing intent as they shot towards the glabella of Ling Xiao and Su Mainyong. Buzz. The Jiao Shao Huan zither shone brightly, and the supreme divine might filled the air. However, it could only block part of the black demonic light. There were still streaks of demonic light that penetrated the boundary, exuding an aura that could destroy everything. They wanted to completely destroy the primordial spirits of Ling Xiao and Su Mainyong. What? Su Mainyong's face turned pale. In front of the demonic light, she actually felt a sense of powerlessness. The threat of death surged in her heart. Sure enough, it's the extraterrestrial demons who are playing tricks. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and the wordless heavenly book suddenly shot out from his glabella. The light in the void rolled and swallowed the black demonic light. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with faint runes as he took 49 steps forward. The 49 footprints converged and finally formed a mysterious rune. Ling Xiao slapped it out, and it exploded in the chaotic world in front of him. Rumble. Divine Tao runes filled the air, and the black demonic light surged. Ling Xiao could vaguely see that between heaven and earth, countless runes were intertwined, and innumerable principal lines were spreading out. The divine Tao and demonic Tao clashed, causing the grand array to become extremely chaotic. So that's how it is. Ling Xiao was enlightened. This ancient divine array was indeed left behind by the nine-tailed celestial fox, but it was disturbed by the demonic Tao principle of the extraterrestrial demon, which stimulated part of the power of the ancient divine array. Any expert of the nine-tailed fox clan who entered the grand array would instantly trigger the killing intent of the grand array and be completely annihilated. A divine array constructed with the power of space as the foundation and the power of stars as the framework? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. With his attainments in formations, he could vaguely see the origin of this ancient divine array. Speaking of which, this ancient divine array was not a killing array, but a formation space. It must contain the inheritance of the nine-tailed celestial fox, but it was disturbed by the extraterrestrial demon, causing the array to reverse and form a killing array. Ling Xiao, is there any way to break the array? Su Mainyang asked. The power of the divine array was too vast and terrifying. If it were not for the wordless heavenly book, the terrifying demonic light would have obliterated her primordial spirit in an instant. After all, the ancient divine array was an ancient divine array. Even if there was only a trace of its power, it was not something that ordinary people could withstand. Let me give it a try. Ling Xiao said slowly. He grabbed Su Mainyang's hand and walked forward slowly. Follow me. Don't get lost. Su Mainyang's hand was as white as mutton fat jade and was incomparably soft. Su Mainyang was caught off guard by Ling Zhao's hand, and her pretty face immediately turned red. However, when she raised her head, she found that Ling Xiao looked dignified and was looking around. He did not notice her. Su Mainyang immediately heaved a sigh of relief in her heart, but she was also inexplicably disappointed. Buzz. Ling Zhao's body shone brightly. His primordial spirit was instantly divided into hundreds of millions of streaks. Each streak turned into a talisman and fell into the surrounding void. This large array seemed to have been fixed by Ling Xiao in an instant. Moreover, the aura of Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang was concealed. The fatal danger that was originally there slowly disappeared. A familiar and amiable aura came over. Su Mainyang's face revealed a trace of surprise and said, Ling Xiao, I feel the aura of the nine-tailed celestial fox. Very good. Follow this aura and move forward. Although the large array cannot be broken for the time being, I have already isolated the large array's hostility towards us. We should be able to walk to the core of the array. When we get there, we will consider how to break the array. Ling Zhao's face was slightly pale. Even with the protection of the wordless heavenly book, Ling Xiao was under great pressure to divide such a large amount of primordial spirit power to resist the power of the ancient divine array. After all, a divine being that had transcended heaven and earth and life and death. Even if it was only a trace of its power, it was not something that ordinary warriors could contend with. Chapter 621. The surroundings were filled with a chaotic fog, giving off an ancient and mysterious aura. The surroundings were filled with chaos and mysterious flowing lights flashed. In a trance, it was as if they had arrived before the creation of the world. That's the connate spirit essence? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Immediately, he saw a bright star flickering in the primal chaos fog in front of him. It was slowly moving about. The star looked like a human figure. It was dazzling and crystal clear, giving off a wave of divinity. It was only the size of a palm and was very mysterious. Is it really the connate spirit essence? Master, catch it quickly. With the connate spirit essence, I can completely break through to the supreme divine medicine realm. Big Radish was even more excited than Ling Xiao. Its eyes were shining. If it was not afraid of the power of the ancient divine formation, it would have rushed out. The connate spirit essence was a kind of spirit that was born naturally. It contained the most original divine power and was the purest primordial spirit without an owner. The connate spirit essence was not very useful to martial experts. At most, it could increase the power of the primordial spirit by a little. However, it could be used to refine powerful magical weapons that could grow. After refining a normal weapon, it would require a huge amount of resources to continue improving it. However, with the connate spirit essence as the weapon spirit, the weapon could automatically absorb the connate origin energy to evolve and become stronger. The connate spirit essence is a supreme treasure that can only be born in the land of origin of the world. Why would it appear in this ancient divine formation? Could it be that this leads to the origin sea? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he remembered that he had accidentally entered the origin sea. However, Although he was thinking, he did not stop and quickly headed towards the Khanate spirit essence. The chaotic fog was ethereal and 3 Khanate spirit essences appeared in front of him. However, they were extremely alert as if they had sensed Ling Xiao's aura. In a flash, they disappeared into the void. However, Ling Xiao was already prepared. He activated the wordless heavenly book and 3 divine chains of order shot out at an extremely fast speed. The 3 Khanate spirit essences were immediately captured by the wordless heavenly book and pulled out from the void. The Khanate spirit essence could turn invisible and travel through the void at an extremely fast speed. Without the wordless heavenly book, Ling Xiao could only watch helplessly. In his current state, there was no way he could capture the Khanate spirit essence. Innate soul essences continue to capture them, the more the better. Big Radish's face was filled with excitement. It twisted its fat, and its saliva almost flowed out. Just like that, Ling Xiao continued forward, and he didn't let go of any Khanate soul essences that he encountered, and he captured a total of 26 Khanate soul essences. A strand of golden light flickered ahead, and it was like a sun had risen. It seemed dazzling and resplendent, and it contained a peerlessly formidable fluctuation of divinity. What? Such a huge innate soul essence. It's definitely the king of innate soul essences. Catch it, catch it? Big Radish's entire body shook, and it began to shout loudly as if it had been injected with chicken blood. Ling Xiao was also shocked. This Xiantian soul essence was dozens or even hundreds of times more powerful than the previous ones. The pure Yuan spirit ripples were like the sun, too bright and dazzling. Without needing Big Radish to say anything, Ling Xiao made his move. Dozens of divine chains of order swept across the sky, and like a huge net, they sealed the void in all directions and went to capture the Khanate Soul Essence King. Rumble! The Khanate Soul Essence King seemed to have sensed great danger, and it began to struggle violently. Golden lightning burst out from its body, and ancient runes exploded one after another. The dozens of divine chains of order seemed to be unable to withstand it, and they were about to break. Buzz! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply, and he immediately activated the wordless heavenly book with all his might. Countless blazing divine lights swept across the sky, and in the end, they bound the Khanate Soul Essence King, pulled it into the wordless heavenly book, and suppressed it. After the Khanate Soul Essence King was suppressed, Ling Xiao immediately sensed that the danger from the ancient divine formation had disappeared. There was a dazzling light in front of them, and a floating mountain appeared, emitting an eternal light. Ling Xiao and Su Meinyang looked at each other, and then they quickly flew toward the floating mountain. That's not a floating mountain. That's a huge skeleton. Su Meinyang's body trembled, and her eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. In front of them, chaotic qi pervaded the air, and a skeleton that was tens of thousands of feet tall was floating in the void. It was pure white and flawless and looked like a huge fox. There were 9 huge tailbones behind it, and they looked like divine pillars that shot up into the sky. It's the 9-tailed celestial fox. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he sensed a powerful and mysterious aura. It exuded an eternal divine Tao, and it was immortal and indestructible. This was the skeleton of the 9-tailed celestial fox, and it was a 9-tailed celestial fox in the divine spirit realm. That kind of powerful and terrifying aura was something that even a supreme being expert would not be able to withstand. It's really the 9-tailed celestial fox. We've finally found it. Su Meinyang's eyes were filled with excitement, and her breathing became rapid. Countless ancestors of the 9-tailed fox clan were unable to come here, but she, Su Meinyang, had done it. This skeleton was tens of thousands of feet tall, but Ling Xiao could see that its glabella had cracked open. There was a huge hole that was filled with black demonic qi, and a broken black war spear was stuck in it. Although the broken black spear had lost its power and turned into scrap metal, it still exuded a ferocious aura that filled the air. Ling Xiao could vaguely see a peerless expert in ancient times with a monstrous demonic qi holding a black war spear. He pierced through layers of the void and killed the 9-tailed celestial fox here. That battle must have been very tragic. Even the 9-tailed celestial fox, who had stepped into the divine spirit realm, could not withstand such a terrifying spear strike. How strong were those extraterrestrial demons? Ling Zhao's heart sank slightly. He originally thought that the strongest among the extraterrestrial demons should be the heavenly demon king, who was comparable to a titled supreme being. But now, it seemed that even the nine-tailed celestial fox had been killed. Perhaps there were still heavenly demon gods above the heavenly demon kings. Slowly uncovering the truth shrouded in the fog of time made Ling Zhao feel more and more shocked. Buzz. At this moment, a mysterious aura emerged from the nine-tailed celestial fox's body. It seemed to be filled with red light, and it contained a pure and mysterious demonic power. In an instant, it fell on Su Mainyang's body. Su Mainyang's body flashed with light, and she instantly turned into a white fox. Her fur was pure white, and there was not a speck of dust on it. Behind her, there were 8 furry tails that rose to the sky. A strong bloodline connection appeared between Su Mainyang and the nine-tailed celestial fox. My descendant, you're finally here. Chapter 622. The nine-tailed celestial fox's body flashed, and a white-clothed woman appeared in the void. The white-clothed woman had a flawless face. Her black hair was like a waterfall, and her eyes were bright and deep, emitting a mysterious light. Her skin was like jade, and her curves were exquisite. Her entire body emitted an ethereal temperament that was untainted by the mortal world. The white-clothed woman stood in the void, and the chaotic fog around her seemed to have dispersed. Greetings, ancestor. Su Mainyang knelt down respectfully. I have waited for 1,000,000 years, and you are finally here. When I pass the inheritance of the nine-tailed celestial fox clan to you, my mission will be complete. The white-clothed woman said with a faint smile. Ancestor, how did you fall here? And what is this ancient divine array? Su Mainyang asked doubtfully. Ling Zhao glanced at the white-clothed woman indifferently and sighed in his heart. This white-clothed woman was not the primordial spirit of the nine-tailed celestial fox. It was just a mark left behind by the nine-tailed celestial fox. Moreover, it was extremely weak now. He was afraid that her soul would dissipate soon. 1,000,000 years ago, a great calamity descended. My nine-tailed celestial fox clan fought a bloody battle under the leadership of the demon saint. Unfortunately, the enemy was too strong. In the end, we were powerless to reverse the situation, and I could only fall here. The white-clothed woman sighed softly, and her voice was filled with countless emotions. Are the enemy the extraterrestrial demons? How strong? Where did they come from? Why did they cause this great calamity? Su Mainyang asked softly. Extraterrestrial demons? This name is appropriate. They are indeed not creatures of this world, but where did they come from? I don't know. I only know that they are very strong, far beyond your imagination. That great calamity overturned heaven and earth. Even I was just a chess piece, and I didn't know the truth of the great calamity. The white-clothed woman said slowly. Ling Zhao's body shook. The nine-tailed celestial fox was a supreme expert of the divine spirit realm. She actually said that she was just a chess piece, and she didn't even know the truth of the great calamity. Then what was hidden 1,000,000 years ago? The white-clothed woman glanced at Su Mainyang, and there was a trace of satisfaction in her eyes. She said, Your aptitude is good. You should be able to advance to the nine-tailed realm after receiving my inheritance. As for the great calamity, you don't need to delve into it. When the world overturns and all creatures die, there will naturally be a chance of survival. The lady in white glanced at Ling Zhao with a strange look in her eyes. She is the extraterrestrial demons. Is. The woman in white said slowly, This formation is called the nine-tailed coiling divine formation. Before I died, I set it up with my body's essence, blood, and remnant primordial spirit to suppress a heavily injured heavenly fiend celestial. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Just as he had expected, there was a heavenly demon god above the heavenly demon king. That's right. In that battle, my primordial spirit was destroyed by the heavenly demon, but he was also seriously injured. His body was shattered, and his primordial spirit was silent. He fell into the state of returning to the void. I suppressed him with the nine-tailed divine formation, and at the same time, I waited for the descendants of the nine-tailed celestial fox clan to come. But I didn't expect that although the heavenly demon couldn't escape from the nine-tailed divine formation for the past 1,000,000 years, he could exert the law of demons to affect the formation. He used the secret door that I left for the descendants of the nine-tailed fox clan to activate the killing intent of the great formation and kill all living creatures. He was afraid that someone would get my inheritance and kill him completely. 1,000,000 years have passed. If you didn't come, he might really break out of the formation one day. The white-clothed woman said softly. She was just a primordial spirit imprint. Her original body had died a long time ago, and she couldn't affect the nine-tailed divine formation at all. So, although she knew that the heavenly demon could affect the nine-tailed divine formation, she couldn't do anything about it. Break out of the formation? Su Mainyang was shocked. How terrifying was the heavenly demon that could kill the nine-tailed celestial fox? If the heavenly demon really broke out of the formation, the entire war god continent would be in a bloodbath. I have a feeling that those fellows are going to appear again. Blood will stain the blue sky, the world will turn yellow, and all living creatures will die. Everything will cease to exist. But there will definitely be a ray of hope in the great calamity. Follow this honorable envoy well. He will bring life and hope to the nine-tailed celestial fox clan. The white-clothed woman's voice was low. Then she looked at Ling Xiao with a pleading look in her eyes. Honorable envoy? Are you talking about me? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he asked slowly. Honorable envoy, please protect the nine-tailed celestial fox clan in the great calamity. I will be eternally grateful. The white-clothed woman bowed to Ling Xiao. You know me? Or do you know who I am? Ling Xiao was shocked. Speaking of which, even if he was the most powerful person in the war god continent 10,000 years ago, he probably didn't have any interactions with the nine-tailed celestial fox clan from 1,000,000 years ago, right? Could the honorable envoy be referring to the wordless heavenly book? I can't say. Honorable envoy, you will understand everything. The white-clothed woman said slowly. Her voice was ethereal and her figure was a little dim. My descendant, I don't have much time left. I hope you can obtain my inheritance and lead the nine-tailed celestial fox clan in the great calamity in the future. The road ahead will be difficult. Take care. The white-clothed woman sighed softly and pointed at Su Mainyang's glabella. Buzz. A dazzling light came from the nine-tailed celestial fox clan and instantly entered Su Mainyang's glabella. Su Mainyang's body trembled. An ancient, desolate, mysterious and vast aura spread out from her body. Her chi and blood surged like a vast and turbulent river. A dazzling light wrapped around Su Mainyang in an instant. Vaguely, a powerful nine-tailed celestial fox appeared behind Su Mainyang. It stood in the chaos and whistled. It was vast, mysterious and terrifying. Honorable envoy, since you have obtained the sky-devouring secret skill, let me give you a hand. The white-clothed woman's figure was extremely illusory. A light flashed in her hand. Suddenly, a white pearl flew out from the nine-tailed celestial fox clan's body and slowly fell into Ling Xiao's hand. Pearl of the world! Ling Xiao was shocked. He didn't expect the white-clothed woman to give him such a great gift. Chapter 623. Unfortunately, if a paragon died, his minor world would be destroyed, and the world pearl would return to primal chaos. It would be very difficult to preserve it. This was the nine-tailed heavenly fox's world pearl, which contained the magical laws of space of a god spirit expert. It was something that even a paragon's world pearl couldn't compare to. Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring secret magic required him to open up a minor world inside of him in order to create the heaven-devourer cauldron. That was why he had been searching for the 3 types of sage medicines he needed to concoct the world pill. But now that he had the nine-tailed heavenly fox's world pearl, if he wanted to break through, he could create the heaven-devourer cauldron. This is a gift I can't refuse. As long as it's within my power, I'll definitely protect the nine-tailed heavenly fox clan. Ling Xiao sighed softly as he looked at the woman in white and said solemnly, "Many thanks," she said with a charming smile. Eyes glittering, Ling Xiao said, "I'd like to know the current state of the Heaven Devil. Perhaps I can try to destroy it." "The eye of the nine-tailed god coil formation is my corpse," she said. "The nascent divinity of the Heaven Devil has been split into 9 parts, which are sealed within my 9 tails. Perhaps you can give it a try. If you can destroy the nascent divinity of the Heaven Devil, then the 9-tailed god coil formation will be broken." By this point, she was so faint that it was almost impossible to see her, as if she were a dying candle. "Farewell, exalted emissary." The woman in white sighed softly. She glanced at her surroundings, seemingly reluctant to part with them. Then, her body instantly disappeared into the void. Ling Zhao's heart was filled with emotions. This time, he met the 9-tailed celestial fox, a peerless expert from 1,000,000 years ago. It was like a dream. Although the 9-tailed celestial fox answered some of his questions, it made Ling Xiao see even more mysteries. "Let's deal with the Heaven Devil first." Eyes flashing, Ling Xiao walked over to the corpse of the 9-tailed heavenly fox. Although the Heaven Devil had been sealed for 1,000,000 years, and its nascent divinity had been split into 9 parts, it was still not something an ordinary Heaven Devil king could compare to. Even if Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly tome, which was a precious treasure that could deal with otherworldly Heaven Devils, he still had to be careful. The corpse of the 9-tailed heavenly fox was 30,000 meters tall, and its 9 tail bones were high up into the sky, surrounded by a faint primal chaos energy. Ling Xiao instructed Big Radish to protect Su Mainyang while he went to the tailbone alone. "Young man, save this god. This god will teach you a peerless divine technique and grant you immortality." Ling Xiao stood in front of the first tailbone. Suddenly, a mysterious wave of energy spread out, directly entering Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. It brought with it a powerful charm. "Heavenly Devil God?" A cold glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He smiled faintly and said, "Heavenly Demon God, you can't even protect yourself, yet you dare to charm me?" Suddenly, a black demonic shadow appeared on the white and flawless tailbone. It had 2 horns on its head and black scales all over its body. It exuded a ferocious demonic aura. His eyes were scarlet, revealing a bloodthirsty and cruel light as he stared at Ling Xiao. "Ant-like thing. Even the 9-tailed celestial fox couldn't kill me. You think you can kill me?" A cold voice rang out with an icy ripple, as if it wanted to shatter Ling Xiao's soul. However, the heavenly demon god was already suppressed by the formation. The only thing he could do was to reveal himself and threaten Ling Xiao. Naturally, Ling Xiao would not be frightened by him. "Is that so?" Ling Xiao could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. A bright light shone from his glabella. Immediately, the wordless heavenly book flew out, exuding a blazing light as it pounced on the heavenly demon god. The wordless heavenly book exuded a joyful wave as if it had seen a delicacy. Without needing Ling Xiao to activate it, it began to devour the heavenly demon god in a frenzy. "What? You have the wordless heavenly book? You're the red dragon? No, you're not him. Or you." After being suppressed for 1,000,000 years, the heavenly demon god's brain seemed to have stopped working. When he saw the wordless heavenly book flying over, his eyes revealed an extremely shocked expression as he roared in a frenzy. "I'm the one who wants your life." Ling Zhao's eyes were cold. The wordless heavenly book landed on the tailbone. Divine chains of order intertwined and pierced through the void, grabbing at the heavenly demon god who was suppressed within. Rumble! The heavenly demon god began to struggle violently. His huge tailbone began to vibrate. Chaos boiled and demonic light surged. The 9-tailed celestial fox's skeleton seemed like it was about to explode. However, the wordless heavenly book seemed to be a natural counter to the extraterrestrial demons. No matter how the heavenly demon god struggled, he was still slowly devoured by the wordless heavenly book. A powerful force surged into the wordless heavenly book. "I can't accept this." The heavenly demon god was in a frenzy. He roared loudly and struggled violently. the nine-tailed divine formation faintly showed signs of shattering as if it could not withstand the heavenly demon god's struggle. Buzz. The wordless heavenly book floated in the chaos. It was ancient and mysterious, exuding a vast aura. Countless divine chains of order intertwined and devoured the primordial spirit of the heavenly demon god wantonly. Seeing that the primordial spirit of the heavenly demon god in the first tailbone was about to be completely devoured by the wordless heavenly book, the heavenly demon god's eyes revealed an extremely frenzied expression. Even if I die, I won't let you off so easily. And let's die together. The heavenly demon god roared loudly. It was like a thunderclap. Rumble. Heaven and earth shook violently. The 9 huge tailbones actually trembled at the same time. 9 black shadows of the heavenly demon god appeared. Each of them was roaring at the sky with an extremely frenzied expression in their eyes. They seemed to have formed a mysterious connection with each other. A vast and terrifying power seemed to be about to erupt. Oh no! Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He hurriedly activated the wordless heavenly book with all his might. Immediately, the wordless heavenly book split into 9 terrifying shadows and instantly enveloped the 9 tailbones. If the heavenly demon god really wanted to go crazy and self-destruct, the 9-tailed divine formation would not be able to stop him. Boom! At this moment, the wordless heavenly book seemed to have awakened an extremely terrifying aura. 9 ancient runes flew out from the wordless heavenly book as if they contained the mysteries of heaven and earth. They instantly landed on the 9 tailbones. No! The heavenly demon god's eyes revealed an extremely horrified expression as he roared madly. It was as if 9 heavenly thunderbolts had exploded. The primordial spirit of the heavenly demon god that was suppressed in the 9 tailbones was instantly wiped out. It was not devoured, but directly wiped out. This terrifying power surpassed the supremes and even the deities. It was eternal and immortal, suppressing the chaos. Buzz. Chapter 624. What kind of power is this? Ling Zhao was extremely shocked. He realized that he knew too little about the wordless heavenly book. However, Ling Zhao immediately felt his heart ache. The extraterrestrial demon that he had devoured in the God Burial Cave was about to manifest a powerful secret technique. In the end, he had killed the heavenly demon and used up all his remaining power. This was a huge loss. Ling Zhao's heart ached. It seemed like it was still too much for him to use the wordless heavenly book to devour the heavenly demon with his current strength. Moreover, the consumption of that power was too great. Master, where are my Khanate soul essences? I know that the Khanate Soul King is enough. The big radish walked to Ling Zhao and asked for an exorbitant price. Khanate Soul King? Don't even think about it. These 9 Khanate soul essences are yours. Don't think that I don't know. With these 9 Khanate soul essences, it won't be long before you become a supreme divine medicine. Ling Zhao glared at the big radish and threw it 9 ordinary Khanate soul essences. As for the Khanate Soul King, Ling Zhao planned to refine it into the heaven-devouring sword. The heaven-devouring sword should be able to recover the power of a supreme weapon. The power of a supreme weapon was too terrifying. If Ling Zhao didn't have a supreme weapon, it would be difficult for him to fight against it. The big radish pursed its lips and was a little unwilling. However, when it saw the 9 Khanate soul essences, it immediately beamed with joy and started devouring them. Don't be in a hurry to refine them. Help me and Su Mainyang protect me. I want to cultivate for a while. Ling Zhao said. Although the 9-tailed divine formation had disappeared after the death of the heavenly demon, Ling Zhao had set up a concealment formation and was prepared to cultivate here for a while. Su Mainyang had a mysterious connection with the corpse of the 9-tailed celestial fox and was receiving the inheritance of the 9-tailed celestial fox. Ling Zhao planned to refine the Khanate Soul King into the heaven-devouring sword and then refine the Pearl of the World in one go. He would then break through to the 3rd level of the heaven-devouring secret technique and form the heaven-devouring cauldron. Buzz. An ancient sword that was shining with divine light appeared in Ling Zhao's hand. It was the heaven-devouring sword that he had used in his previous life. The heaven-devouring sword was originally a supreme divine weapon, and it was also a divine weapon that Ling Xiao had personally forged. It was a peerless divine weapon that surpassed even supreme divine weapons. However, the battle 10,000 years ago was simply too tragic. Even the weapon spirit within the heaven-devouring sword had been annihilated. Although the heaven-devouring sword was still incomparably sharp, it lacked a weapon spirit. Therefore, it was at most equivalent to a supreme-grade Dao weapon. Ling Xiao planned to use the King of Innate Essence Spirits as the weapon spirit and infuse it into the sky-devouring sword. He would slowly nurture it and gradually restore the sky-devouring sword's power from its previous life. The heaven-devouring sword slowly floated up. Streaks of dazzling sword light circled around Ling Xiao and began to hum. The Innate Soul King also appeared in the void. Although the Innate Soul King was stronger than the ordinary innate soul essences, it had yet to develop its own intelligence. Under the threat of Ling Xiao, it immediately became obedient. The weapon contains its spirit, the spirit nourishes the weapon spirit is one, the heaven and man are one. Ling Xiao recited the caste god ancient scripture silently. This was a supreme technique to nurture the weapon spirit. Ling Xiao's mouth contained the heavenly law, as if it was intertwined with the void. Streaks of runes appeared around him and began to wrap around the sky-devouring sword and the innate soul king. Strands of light appeared between the sky-devouring sword and the innate soul king, attracting the two of them to each other. If the sky-devouring sword was compared to the physical body of a martial artist, then the innate soul king would be the primordial spirit. If a martial artist did not have a primordial spirit, then he would only be a walking corpse. It was the same for weapons, especially powerful weapons. They must be one with the weapon spirit to be able to comprehend the heart of heaven, contain the heavenly Tao, and explode with earth-shattering power. The sky-devouring sword trembled even more violently. A powerful sword intent spread out, mysterious and unpredictable. It had a powerful aura that could pierce the heavens. Merge. In the end, Ling Xiao abruptly opened his eyes and let out a roar. Like a sudden clap of thunder, the sky-devouring sword suddenly shone brightly. The innate soul king instantly merged into the sky-devouring sword. Rumble. In an instant, lightning radiance intertwined between heaven and earth, and vast heavenly power descended. The aura of the sky-devouring sword instantly surpassed the limits of a Dao weapon, and it started to emit a layer of unparalleled supreme power. In order to upgrade to a supreme weapon, one must undergo the heavenly lightning tribulation. Above the void, flashes of lightning were blazing, and the sea of thunder was churning. Vast heavenly power spread out, and thick lightning bolts, like mountains, came across the sky and struck down on the sky-devouring sword. The heavenly power was vast, and a terrifying sense of danger spread out, shrouding Ling Xiao's heart with a layer of danger. This was the supreme tribulation of a weapon. If one passed it, they would become a supreme weapon. If one failed, they would turn into ashes. Go, welcome the baptism of your new life. Ling Xiao said softly, with a tinge of anticipation in his eyes. The sky-devouring sword, the peerless weapon that had accompanied him to the peak in his previous life, had finally started to shine with its peerless brilliance. The sky-devouring sword exuded an infinite longing for Ling Xiao, and it was filled with endless joy. Its spirituality grew stronger, and in an instant, it soared into the sky and slashed at the sea of thunder. Boom! A blazing sword radiance cut across the sky like a dazzling galaxy. It contained an unparalleled sharpness, and in an instant, it scattered the lightning radiance in the sky. The sky-devouring sword stood in the sky, and its body was glowing brightly. An unparalleled devouring power spread out, and the sea of thunder and the powerful laws of heaven and earth were swallowed up by the sky-devouring sword like a whale swallowing the sea. When other supreme weapons underwent the tribulation, which one of them didn't last for a long time, and were covered in scars. In the end, they could receive the baptism of heaven and earth, and become a supreme weapon with supreme might. In front of the sky-devouring sword. So what if it was a supreme tribulation? I'll slash it with my sword. An unparalleled fluctuation spread out, and a vast sword will burst out. The void trembled, and heaven and earth rumbled. The sky-devouring sword fell from the sky, and with infinite longing, it landed in Ling Xiao's hands. Holding the sky-devouring sword tightly, a feeling of blood connection spread out. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly, and at this moment, he felt an invincible belief. Even if the heavens were to block his path, he could slash it with his sword. "Master, this sword is very strong," Big Radish exclaimed. It could feel a mysterious power from the sky-devouring sword. It was a divine substance, and it exuded an immortal aura. After fusing with the Khanate Spirit King, a supreme weapon might not be the limit of the sky-devouring sword. In the future, it would be a peerless divine sword. Ling Xiao was very satisfied. The sky-devouring sword turned into a stream of light, and instantly flew into Ling Xiao's Dantian Qi Si. Ling Xiao began to nurture it with his blood essence, true qi, and primordial spirit. Chapter 625. Time to finish the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron. With that, Ling Xiao sat down cross-legged. The land of the fallen gods was a place where few people ever came, and the Heaven Wind Gorge was a place filled with danger. Ling Xiao had set up a concealment spell formation, so he was confident that no one would come here. Whiz! Dazzling golden light shone out of Ling Xiao's chest as the heaven-devouring golden lotus floated up into the air. The next step was to form the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron. The King Heaven Devourer Cauldron could devour anything, including the Tao motes of paragons, consummate god weapons, and other precious treasures. In fact, Ling Xiao could use the cauldron to absorb quintessence, energy, and soul life force quintessence, and even the destiny of top geniuses. The heaven-devouring secret skill was a skill that stole good fortune from heaven and earth. In his previous life, Ling Xiao had only been able to form the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron after reaching the paragon level. With the power of a paragon, even true dragons would have to flee in the face of the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron. World Pearl. Space Crystal. Time to assimilate them. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The heaven-devouring golden lotus swallowed the pearl of the world that the nine-tailed celestial fox had given him, as well as the space crystal that he had prepared beforehand. Rumble. Powerful spatial fluctuations rolled out in all directions. Within the heaven-devouring golden lotus, an endless amount of chaos qi permeated the air. It was as though a scene of the creation of the heavens and earth had appeared. An incomparably mysterious space gradually appeared within the heaven-devouring golden lotus. Golden light spread out as the previously perfect heaven-devourer golden lotus turned into a golden liquid, which then formed into a three-legged, two-eared cauldron. It was the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, shining with multicolored light and mysterious magical laws that made the cauldron seem even more majestic. The profundities of the Heaven Devourer's secret skill were revealed in Ling Xiao's mind, and the world around him became a mysterious energy flow that reduced all living things to the tiniest of particles. It was as if Ling Xiao were touching the essence of the world. The King Heaven Devourer Cauldron slowly began to spin, and as the world pearl was absorbed, it began to emanate spatial magical laws. As of this moment, Ling Xiao was in a state of Tao enlightenment, forgetting everything around him. This is bad. What kind of peerless martial arts is this guy practicing? How can he touch the power of the origin of heaven and earth? Big Radish's eyes were filled with disbelief. It had also been startled just now. As soon as the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron appeared, golden godlight shot up, causing heaven and earth to tremble. That divine light was so vast that it might have been seen by the entire holy ground. Although the land of the fallen gods was very dangerous, it was inevitable that people would think that a powerful treasure had appeared in the land of the fallen gods. If an expert were to come here at this time, it would be dangerous. Tui tui tui, my jinx, no one will come. The land of the fallen gods is so dangerous. The heavenly wind tribulation of the heavenly wind canyon isn't something ordinary people can pass through. It's definitely fine. Big Radish guarded Ling Xiao and Su Mainyang with fear and trepidation. It felt like crying but had no tears. Outside Tianfeng Canyon. What is that? Zhang Shuhao's body trembled, and his eyes revealed a trace of surprise. In the Tianfeng Canyon, a blazing divine light shot up into the sky, illuminating the sky of the land of the fallen gods. It emitted a dazzling treasure light, and profound laws of heaven and earth descended. Could it be that a supreme treasure has appeared in this canyon? The eyes of the sixth holy sun and the southern sky king lit up with joy. It shouldn't be. This kind of law has surpassed the peak of the human Tao. It should be the law of the divine Tao. I guess that bitch might have found the legacy of the nine-tailed celestial fox. Zhang Shuhao's eyes flashed coldly as he said slowly. Although he knew that the legacy of the nine-tailed celestial fox was in the land of the fallen gods, he didn't know that it was in the Tianfeng Canyon. He didn't expect that Ling Zhao's King Heaven Devourer cauldron would lead them to the right direction. The legacy of the nine-tailed celestial fox? Then let's go. Ling Zhao should be here. The sixth holy sun said slowly. Although the Tianfeng tribulation in the Tianfeng Canyon was terrifying, the sixth holy sun and the southern sky king both had supreme weapons. The sixth holy sun's god king shroud flew out, exuding a powerful paragon's aura that enveloped everyone, and they quickly entered the Tianfeng Canyon. Zhang Shuhao and the others entered the Tianfeng Canyon. With the protection of the supreme weapon, they were unimpeded. It didn't take long for them to reach the concealment formation that Ling Zhao had set up. Formation, huh? It's not an ancient formation, but an ordinary concealment formation. Zhang Shuhao's eyes flashed sharply. A mere concealment formation? Watch me break it. The sixth holy sun's eyes flashed with a hint of arrogance. The God King's shroud flew out, and black blood-colored runes spread out. The void in front of them shattered like a mirror, revealing a primal chaos void. A 10,000-meter-tall skeleton floated in the void, with Su Mainyang and Ling Zhao sitting cross-legged below it. Only a big radish stood vigilantly in front of Ling Zhao. It's really the nine-tailed celestial fox. The black-robed old man behind the sixth holy sun said slowly with a hint of shock in his eyes. The 10,000-meter-tall skeleton and the ferocious aura of a divine beast made everyone look serious. Su Mainyang was obviously receiving the nine-tailed celestial fox's inheritance. On the other hand, a three-legged, two-eared cauldron floated in front of Ling Zhao's chest. It looked simple, round, and mysterious. The mouth of the cauldron spewed out red clouds that shot into the sky. It turned out that the huge commotion was caused by Ling Zhao. Who are you? This is the nine-tailed celestial fox's seclusion ground. If you don't want to die, get lost. When the big radish saw these people, it knew that they were not friendly. It complained in its heart, but it still pretended to be arrogant. The nine-tailed celestial fox's seclusion ground? Hee, the nine-tailed celestial fox has been dead for countless years, right? There's no trace of the nine-tailed celestial fox's primordial spirit here. Little thing, don't bluff. Zhang Shuhao said with a sneer. You are the legendary Great Bright King Ginseng? The black-robed old man stared at the big radish. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. His eyes were filled with excitement as he said loudly. What? Zhang Shuhao, the sixth holy sun, and the South Sky King were shocked. They looked at the big radish with greed in their eyes. Great Bright King Ginseng, the Great Bright King Ginseng. These few words were enough to make a supreme being go crazy, let alone them. What are you trying to do? I'm not the Great Bright King Ginseng. I'm just a big radish. If you don't leave, the nine-tailed celestial fox will definitely destroy you. The big radish denied immediately. It was about to cry in its heart. Why hasn't Ling Zhao woken up yet? These guys don't look like good people, and now they're eyeing it. Misfortunes never come singly. At this moment, the big radish's heart was filled with endless resentment towards Ling Zhao. Chapter 626. Everyone, that bitch Su Mainyang is cultivating with Ling Zhao. Let's take action immediately. I'll deal with Su Mainyang while you guys deal with Ling Zhao. We must take them down. Zhang Shuhao's eyes flashed coldly as he spoke with murderous intent. That's right. Ling Zhao is too strange. Let's take him down first. The sixth holy sun hurriedly added. Previously, Zhang Shuhao had told him that Ling Xiao had killed 8 half-step supremes on his own. Such terrifying combat strength had made the Sixth Saint and the Southern Sky King fearful. They could take advantage of this opportunity to take Ling Xiao down. Rumble. The Divine King's shroud on the Sixth Saint soared into the sky and emitted a blazing light. Wisps of divine aura filled the air as black runes flickered on it. It was like the blood of a divine king, emitting a monstrous ominous aura. Behind the Southern Sky King, there was also an ancient seal floating in the air. It was like an ancient sacred mountain with a majestic aura that wanted to suppress everything. That was the supreme weapon of the Nantian family, the Southern Sky Seal. It contained an invincible force that could destroy the heavens and earth and suppress the chaos. The Divine King's shroud and the Southern Sky Seal fell towards Ling Xiao. Wisps of supreme divine aura filled the air as they wanted to kill Ling Xiao. Oh no, this is a huge loss. The big radish had a sullen look on its face. However, it still opened its mouth and spat out a dazzling stream of light. The stream of light transformed into a huge barrier that emitted boundless radiance and enveloped Ling Xiao and Su Meinyang. Wake up quickly, master. My great bright king barrier won't be able to hold on for long. After the big radish spat out the light, its aura became extremely weak and the divinity fluctuation on its body became much weaker. Rumble. When the Divine King's shroud and the Nantian seal descended, they were actually blocked by the great bright ruler's enchantment. A terrifying supreme divine aura burst forth, and boundless divine light vibrated. Primal chaos filled the air, and even the enchantment of the great bright ruler was trembling violently. What? It's just a stalk of divine medicine. How can it use supreme divine power? The black-robed old man's body trembled and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He knew that there were some supreme divine medicines that could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. They were very miraculous, but he had never thought that divine medicines could actually use martial arts' divine abilities. The Great Bright Emperor Barrier contained an obscure force of the rules of martial arts, granting it an outstanding defense. It was able to resist the God Emperor Shroud and the South Heaven Seal. Great Bright King Ginseng, I advise you to open the barrier obediently. Otherwise, when the barrier is broken by us, I will definitely make you into a stew. The black-robed old man's eyes were cold as he threatened Great Luobu. The big radish laughed coldly and said, "Old fellow, you dare to threaten me with this meaty body of yours? This seat is a divine king of the 9 heavens. Even the 9-tailed celestial fox is this seat's underling. Do you believe that this seat can exterminate you with a single breath?" Seeing that the great bright lord's barrier was able to block the 2 supreme weapons, Big Radish heaved a sigh of relief and began to show off. You are courting death. This barrier won't be able to hold on for much longer. Attack with all your might. You must break this barrier. The black-robed old man said coldly, his eyes blazing with killing intent. Rumble. The God Emperor Shroud and the South Heaven Seal both emitted a brilliant light. Streams of mysterious aura surrounded them, and a vast martial saint's aura filled the air. It was as if 2 peerless martial saints had been born, and they began to attack the great bright lord's barrier. Streams of runes exploded, and the great bright lord's barrier trembled violently. The chaotic mist was filled with lightning, and the scene of the end of the world appeared before everyone's eyes. The light of the great bright lord's barrier weakened at a speed visible to the naked eye. Big Radish suddenly spat out a drop of divine liquid. After receiving the nourishment of the divine liquid, the great bright lord's barrier slowly strengthened again. What a loss, what a loss. Ling Xiao, you bastard, if you don't wake up, I'm going to die from exhaustion. Big Radish's aura was weak, and it said with a tearful face. It felt that ever since it met Ling Xiao, it had been suffering from 8 lifetimes of bad luck. All the things it had done were unrewarding. It had just obtained some innate soul essences, but in the end, in order to protect Ling Xiao and Su Meinyang, it had used up so much of its divine medicine essence. Rumble. The power of the godly king's shroud and the South Heaven Seal grew stronger and stronger, and their auras were incomparably powerful. Blazing killing intent flowed out from them, drowning the entire barrier. The power of the barrier grew weaker and weaker, and it became more transparent. At this moment, Ling Zhao's cultivation had reached a critical point. The Heavenly King Heaven Devourer cauldron flew up into the sky, emitting a blazing five-colored divine light. It absorbed the essence of heaven and earth, and became more and more corporeal, as though it was going to appear out of nowhere. Damn it! Let me break your tortoise shell. Zhang Shuhao was getting impatient. His face was gloomy, and a light flashed in his hand. The heavenly pivot sword emitted an unparalleled sword energy, and it instantly appeared in his palm. If Ling Xiao was awake, he might not have the guts to take out the ancient Dubhe sword. He was afraid that Ling Xiao would snatch the ancient Dubhe sword away. However, Ling Xiao was still cultivating. He could use the ancient Dubhe sword to break the Great Bright Lord's enchantment. The heavenly pivot sword flew up into the sky, and its sword intent blazed. Countless stars fell from the 9 heavens, and an extremely resplendent sword light slashed down on the Great Bright Lord's barrier. Countless runes on the Great Bright Lord's barrier exploded. Coupled with the power of the God King Shroud and the South Heaven Seal, the Great Bright Lord's barrier could no longer withstand the power of the 3 paragon weapons, and it exploded. The heavenly pivot sword, the God King Shroud, and the South Heaven Seal did not lose their momentum. Instead, they emitted a monstrous aura that crushed down on Ling Xiao. It's over! It's over! The big radish's aura was weak, and a look of despair could be seen in his eyes. Even if Ling Xiao were awake, he would have a hard time fighting back against the 3 paragon weapons, let alone the fact that he was still cultivating. At that moment, Ling Xiao's eyes snapped open, and 2 dazzling beams of divine light shot out, piercing through the layers of the void. He threw his head back and roared. His black hair danced in the wind, and the Heavenly King Heaven Devourer cauldron appeared, emanating an unparalleled power that could devour heaven and earth. Rumble! The Heavenly King Heaven Devourer cauldron shot up into the sky, surrounded by dazzling light and crackling lightning. It transformed into an enormous vortex that seemed capable of devouring heaven and earth. The might of the 3 paragon weapons was like a river flowing into the sea, and was instantly devoured by the Heavenly King Heaven Devourer cauldron. The Heavenly King Heaven Devourer cauldron slammed into the 3 paragon weapons, causing boundless godlight to erupt and a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering sound to ring out. Are you people looking to die? Ling Zhao's eyes were as cold as ice as ever as he flew up into the sky, his robes as white as snow, his black hair whipping about, and his aura so terrifying that it seemed capable of devouring everything. Chapter 627. What? Zhang Shuhao, the 6th Holy Sun, and the South Sky King were shocked. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. What was that 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron? It could withstand the attack of 3 supreme weapons. The black-robed elder's eyes were burning with greed. In his opinion, the 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron was not a supreme weapon. It was formed by a superpower of the martial path. Just the 3-legged, 2-eared cauldron formed by a superpower of the martial path had the power to resist 3 supreme weapons. Ling Xiao must have cultivated an earth-shattering peerless martial path. Perhaps, it was really the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon God of War. Go! Kill him! Zhang Shuhao, the 6th Holy Sun, and the South Sky King looked at each other. Killing intent flashed in their eyes as they rushed toward Ling Xiao. Zhang Shuhao kept the Dubhe ancient sword and held a quasi-divine weapon longsword in his hand. The 6th Holy Sun controlled the King of God's Shroud and the South Sky King controlled the South Sky Seal. They all used their ultimate killing techniques and rushed toward Ling Xiao. The black-robed elder and the other 2 half-step supreme masters did not attack. They just stood aside and watched. Keep! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. With a wave of his sleeve, Su Mainyang, Big Radish, and the huge 9-tailed celestial fox's bones were all kept in the divine stone. Ling Xiao could have kept Su Mainyang in the divine stone, but he was afraid that it would interfere with her receiving the inheritance. At this moment, Ling Xiao could not care less. The battle was about to begin, and he could not be distracted to protect Su Mainyang. That's the divine stone? The black-robed elder's eyes narrowed. He had seen the divine stone before. When he saw Ling Xiao take out the divine stone and keep Su Mainyong and Big Radish, he immediately recognized it. This confirmed his guess. Since Ling Xiao could control the divine stone, he must have received the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon God of War. Ha! Since you are in such a hurry to die, let's fight. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. His entire body was shrouded in golden light. He had a wild and unruly aura. With a flash in his hand, the sky-swallowing sword appeared in his palm. Its swallowing sword radiance and Big Radish sword intent. This was the sky-swallowing sword's first battle since it was a supreme weapon. With the heaven-devouring sword in hand, Ling Xiao could already feel the majestic battle intent emanating from it. Boom! Ling Xiao wielded the devouring heaven sword and leaped into the sky. Using his greater teleportation technique, he instantly appeared beside Zhang Shuhao and slashed down at him. What? Zhang Shuhao's scalp went numb. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to target him right from the start. A sense of danger shrouded his heart. Without a second thought, he unleashed all of his cultivation and performed the man and sword as one technique. The sword will around him surged as he slashed at the sky-devouring sword. However, the long sword in his hand was only a quasi-supreme weapon. How could it block the power of the heaven-devouring sword? The resplendent runes exploded and the endless sword beams shattered. The sword in Zhang Shuhao's hand instantly turned into ashes. Zhang Shuhao suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he was sent flying. Die! Killing intent flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. This Zhang Shuhao was like a venomous snake. He guessed that the sixth saint and southern sky king must have been brought here by Zhang Shuhao. Since that was the case, he would use them to test his heaven-devouring sword since it had recovered its peerless sharpness. Don't be so arrogant, Ling Xiao. The sixth saint child and the southern heavenly monarch arrived at the same time. The divine king's shroud and the southern heavenly seal suppressed Ling Xiao. King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, devour! Ling Xiao shouted, causing the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron to shine with multicolored light as it devoured the terrifying might of the two paragon items. If Ling Xiao hadn't had the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, he might have been a bit worried about the power of paragon items. But now that he had the Heaven Devourer sword and the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, who cared if it was a paragon item? As long as it wasn't a true paragon, Ling Xiao wasn't afraid at all. The Heaven Devourer sword slashed through the air, sending sword energy 30,000 kilometers in all directions as it slammed into the South Heaven seal. Terrifying godlight exploded, shattering the void and causing spatial turbulence to erupt. The God King's shroud soared through the air. Black runes filled the air and a sea of blood surged. It was as if a supreme God King had appeared and suppressed the heavens and earth. It rushed towards the heaven-devouring sword, wanting to destroy it completely. You're just bathing in the quintessence blood of wretch gods and devil gods. How dare you call yourself the God King Shroud? I'm going to destroy this shroud. Eyes flashing coldly, Ling Xiao slashed his Heaven Devourer sword toward the God King Shroud. In ancient times, there was a boundless god item known as the God King Shroud, which was said to have been created by bathing in the quintessence blood of the Scarlet Dragon war god. The God King Shroud on the Emperor Necropolis was made from the quintessence blood of the slough of a god spirit. It was essentially an imitation and couldn't compare to the true God King Shroud. Rumble! The God King Shroud floated in the air, filling heaven and earth with eternal darkness. Deathly, wretched, blood-colored light spread out as if to stain the Heaven Devourer sword. The Heaven Devourer sword slashed through the darkness like the first beam of sword light from the creation of heaven and earth, then slammed into the God King Shroud. Rumble! Above the void, boundless light was dazzling. The Heaven Devourer sword was fighting against the God King Shroud and the Southern Heaven Seal at the same time. It wasn't at a disadvantage, and it still had a peerless sharpness that suppressed the two supreme weapons. Moreover, the Heaven Devourer sword and the Heaven Devourer secret technique were of the same origin. During the battle, the Heaven Devourer sword was constantly devouring the laws and divine auras of the two supreme weapons. Its spirituality grew stronger, and it was boundlessly terrifying. Without the supreme weapons, all of you can die. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with killing intent as he looked at Zhang Shuhao, the sixth saint, and the Southern Heaven King. The three of them couldn't help but shiver. Zhang Shuhao and the sixth saint had both been defeated by Ling Zhao before, and the Southern Heaven King had been killed by him. South Celestial Venerable had already been killed by Ling Zhao. Although South Heavenly King didn't think he was weaker than South Celestial Venerable, he still felt Ling Zhao's power and terror when he truly faced him. Rumble! Ling Zhao punched out, and golden blood exploded. The dragon roar shook the sky, and it enveloped the three of them. Ling Zhao executed the Heaven Devourer's secret technique and the Ancestral Dragon's secret technique at the same time. His fist was like a dragon, and it emitted a terrifying power that could devour everything. Rumble! Ling Zhao's speed was so fast that the three geniuses only had time to block it. They were instantly struck by the unparalleled fist radiance, and they were sent flying while spitting out mouthfuls of blood. Chapter 628. Die. Eyes cold, Ling Zhao stared at Zhang Shuhao and unleashed a fist strike. Crack! Golden lightning streaked through the air, accompanied by a fist light that resembled a primeval true dragon. This was the true dragon fist, and it was filled with the will of a true dragon. This punch was like the weight of Mount Tai, like the sun in the sky. That terrifying aura made Zhang Shuhao's scalp go numb, and his eyes were filled with incomparable fear. "Save me!" he shouted, fighting back and calling for help. "Don't be so arrogant, Ling Zhao," Sixth Holy Sun said, his eyes flickering with cold light. Then he produced a black pearl of lightning, which he sent flying toward Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao had been planning to take the lightning pearl head-on and kill Zhang Shuhao, but then he suddenly sensed a sensation of deadly crisis. Without even thinking about it, he teleported away, causing the pearl of lightning to explode. Rumble! Black lightning flashed across the sky, turning into a sea of lightning. It was extremely blazing. The surrounding rocks were struck by the lightning and instantly turned into ashes. Also, there was a deathly aura of the tomb that wrapped around Ling Zhao, as if it was a tarsal bone that was about to be torn apart. The black energy pierced through the air and enveloped Ling Zhao, turning him into a deadly poison that began to eat away at his fleshly body. That's corpse poison from the molted remains of god spirits. Even paragons would be seriously injured if they didn't die from it. Let's see how you're going to survive this. The sixth saint roared. His face was filled with an extremely cold smile. However, a moment later, that smile froze in place. Corpse poison from the molted remains of god spirits? It really is good stuff. Devour it for me. Ling Zhao shouted, and the King Heaven Devourer cauldron appeared, which devoured the black corpse poison, leaving nothing behind. There was nothing under heaven that the Heaven Devourer cauldron couldn't devour. If it weren't for the fact that Ling Zhao's cultivation base was still too low, he would have been able to devour even paragon items once he reached the paragon level. The Heaven Devourer sword slashed through the air, blocking the path of the God King's shroud and South Heaven seal. Meanwhile, Ling Zhao was fighting against Zhang Shuhao, the South Heavenly King, and the sixth saint on his own. He unleashed his peerless power and completely dominated the three geniuses. Each of his punches was earth-shattering, utterly terrifying. "You're the first, Zhang Shuhao," Ling Zhao said, forcing Sixth Holy Sun and South Heaven Seal to retreat. Then he closed in on Zhang Shuhao, eyes flashing with killing intent. Ling Zhao's speed was extremely fast. In this kind of intense battle, Ling Zhao's comprehension of the secret art of teleportation grew deeper and deeper. In the end, his entire body seemed to have turned into an afterimage as he moved through the void. Ling Zhao said. "Ling Zhao, Zhenbao Pavilion will not let you go. Even if you kill me today, you will die for sure." Zhang Shuhao roared, his eyes filled with unwillingness. He tried his best to block, but he was unable to resist Ling Zhao's body of the heavenly dragon. Zhang Shuhao's arm was broken, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying. Ling Zhao followed up with a palm strike, unleashing a terrifying Vajra palm that could shatter metal and crush stone. The magical symbols on Zhang Shuhao's chest exploded, and his battle armor shattered. Splat. Zhang Shuhao coughed up another mouthful of blood as he was sent flying like a rag doll, slamming into a nearby mountain. "You forced my hand, Ling Xiao," he said. "Prepare to die." Zhang Shuhao howled, his eyes flashing with venomous hatred. The space between his eyebrows split open and a seven-colored light spread out. A figure with white hair and beard was sitting inside. At this moment he suddenly opened his eyes and raised his hand. The sky changed color and a seven-colored sword energy that was extremely bright slashed toward Ling Xiao. It was so dazzling that it seemed capable of cleaving heaven and earth apart, and contained a boundless and terrifying sword will. This was the strike of a supreme martial artist. It pressed forward with an indomitable will, a sword that could only kill, aiming straight for Ling Xiao's head. Zhang Shuhao was a genius of the Zhang clan, so it was only natural that a paragon would be able to plant a paragon's Dao mark on his forehead. By using that Dao mark, Zhang Shuhao had given up on any thoughts of escaping, and was determined to kill Ling Xiao. If Ling Xiao didn't die, then Zhang Shuhao would have no choice but to wait for his death. This was the attack of a supreme being. It was fast to the extreme, surrounded by seven-colored divine light. It carried the threat of death as it slashed towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes were solemn. It could be said that he was facing a true supreme being. Even if it was only one attack, it was extremely terrifying. If he couldn't withstand this attack, his fate could be imagined. "Bring it on," he shouted, his eyes blazing with the desire to do battle. Drawing on the power of the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron, he unleashed a heaven-devouring, earth-devouring power that swallowed up the sword light. Rumble! The King Heaven Devourer Cauldron trembled violently, and countless magical symbols erupted from it, along with the terrifying might of a paragon. Normally speaking, Ling Xiao wouldn't take the risk of using the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron to absorb the sword light. After all, if the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron was destroyed, his cultivation base would be crippled. But the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron was based on the nine-tailed Heaven Fox's World Pearl, so Ling Xiao was confident that the cauldron would be able to absorb the sword light. Rui Yuombo. Cloud Heaven sent his cultivation base into the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron to help him assimilate the power of the sword. "This is our chance," Zhang Shuhao, the Holy Sun, and the South Heaven King said, their eyes glittering. Taking advantage of the fact that Ling Xiao was suppressing the paragon's sword light, they made their moves. Rumble! Zhang Shuhao coughed up a mouthful of quintessence blood, and his eyes shone with madness as he used a secret magic to become one with the sword, which he slashed toward Ling Xiao. As for the Holy Sun, an enormous necropolis appeared behind him, looking like the tomb of a celestial emperor. It pulsed with an aura that seemed capable of burying heaven and earth, as well as extermination. This was a paragon's killing technique, and he was burning his quintessence blood to unleash it. As for the South Heaven King, a consummate saber appeared in his hand, pulsing with the power to slash anything and everything. It was a damaged paragon item, and it was clearly a weapon of some sort. All three of the top geniuses were unleashing their most terrifying attacks in the hopes of killing Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had left a deep impression on them, and if they couldn't kill him now, they would live under his shadow for the rest of their lives, unable to progress any further. "You want to come at me together? Fine. Let's settle this in one blow." Chapter 629. Ryuumble. Ling Xiao crushed the Heaven Devourer Cauldron with one hand, then made a grasping motion with the other, causing heaven and earth to fall into his palm. Then he slammed it down toward his three opponents. Crack! Golden lightning flashed, and Zhang Shuhao was the fastest of the bunch. However, Ling Xiao didn't let him get away. Instead, he unleashed the power of the Devour Heavens and extinguished the Earth's 7 limitations God art, causing heaven and earth to return to primal chaos. 4 mammoths heaven-striking stance. 5 phases heaven-sealing stance. 6 Daos reincarnation stance. With the 3 moves combined into one, Zhang Shuhao was instantly sent flying by Ling Xiao's palm. That blazing sword light only left a bloody mark on Ling Zhao's palm, and he was defeated. Behind Holy Sun Sixth, the great necropolis was crushed by Ling Zhao's attack. Last but not least, the Southern Sky King's peerless divine saber was smashed into smithereens by Ling Zhao's fist. Push! All three of them coughed up mouthfuls of blood and were sent tumbling backward, looks of disbelief on their faces. Just how strong was Ling Zhao? He had crushed the Heaven Devourer cauldron with one hand, and then defeated the three of them with one hand. Rumble! A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering sound rang out from within the Heaven Devourer cauldron, as if it were trying to rend heaven and earth. Then, the cauldron stopped trembling, and began to shine with brilliant light. Just like that, Ling Zhao had neutralized the Paragon attack left behind by the patriarch of the Zhang clan. Zhang Shuhao, Holy Sun Sixth, and Holy Sun South Heaven King exchanged a glance, and their eyes flickered with terror as they began to contemplate fleeing. They suddenly realized that they couldn't kill Ling Zhao. In fact, they might even end up dying at his hands. We still have a chance. Ling Zhao has to die. The sixth Holy Sun suddenly gritted his teeth, and a trace of blazing killing intent appeared in his eyes. He abruptly turned around to look at the black-robed old man who had followed him. However, his eyes widened in shock as he realized that the old man was gone. Ling Zhao had defeated three consummate geniuses with a single palm strike, and the Heaven Devourer cauldron had neutralized the Paragon attack. Therefore, he breathed a sigh of relief. All of a sudden, a sensation of deadly crisis filled his heart. Ling Zhao didn't even think about it. He instantly executed a teleportation secret technique and teleported away. But it was too late. A light, ethereal palm print suddenly appeared in the air and landed heavily on Ling Zhao's back. Ling Zhao's face paled as if he had been struck by lightning. His organs began to churn, and a deathly aura surged wildly into his body. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura instantly withered. Supreme Being! Ling Zhao's eyes widened as he saw a flash of light in the void. An old man in black robes walked out slowly. The black-robed old man had a tall stature. His complexion was rosy, and he looked dignified and mysterious. His eyes were incomparably deep and experienced, and the gaze he used to look at Ling Zhao was filled with unconcealable passion. Not bad to be able to dodge 70% of my attack. You should be proud. The black-robed old man was none other than the person the sixth Holy Sun had brought with him. Inwardly, he sighed in regret. He had purposely chosen the perfect moment to attack Ling Zhao, who had suppressed the Paragon attack and defeated the three consummate geniuses. If he had unleashed his full power, Ling Zhao's fleshly body would have been instantly destroyed, leaving behind only a nascent divinity that the old man could easily deal with. No, wait. You're not a supreme being. Supreme beings can't enter the sage ruins. You're just a dharma body of a supreme being. You were the one who ambushed me in Two World City, weren't you? Ha! For me, Ling Zhao, Emperor Mausoleum Mountain actually sent a supreme being. What an honor! Ling Zhao sneered, his eyes filled with coldness. Ling Zhao was in an extremely bad state right now. The black-robed old man was Di Lin. He had once ambushed Ling Zhao in Two World City. This time, his attack was vicious and merciless. Although it was only an autarka's avatar and could at most unleash the power of an autark of the four symbols, he had sent a strand of autarka's origin energy into Ling Zhao's body. That stream of essence power contained deathly stillness and magical laws, and was rapidly destroying Ling Zhao's life force. Not even the King Heaven Devourer cauldron could fully absorb it. Ling Zhao sighed inwardly at how careless he had been. Although a supreme being dharma body was created by a supreme being, it contained the quintessence blood and nascent divinity power of the supreme being. If it was damaged, it would be a major blow to the supreme being. Ling Zhao had never imagined that Emperor Mausoleum Mountain would take him seriously enough to mobilize a dharma body. Don't waste time, boy. Be a good boy and let me soul search you. If you do, I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you won't be able to die even if you want to. Dylan chuckled but didn't hesitate in the slightest. He could sense that Ling Zhao wasn't in a very good state. His supreme being essence power was destroying his fleshly body. What caused Dylan to sigh in amazement was that Ling Xiao's fleshly body was truly monstrous. It wasn't the slightest bit weaker than the legendary godlings, and was actually able to hold on. In fact, it was even absorbing the Supreme Being Essence power. That was why Dylan had immediately used a killing move to completely destroy Ling Xiao's fleshly body. All he needed to do was get Ling Xiao's nascent divinity. Rumble! Dylan sent out another palm strike, filled with mysterious magical symbols that seemed to merge into heaven and earth. In the face of this palm strike, it was as though time itself had stopped, and the void had ceased to exist. It was as though time itself had passed, and time itself had become eternal. Ling Xiao's pupils constricted. He knew that Dylan was attacking with incredible speed. Supreme beings understood the magical laws of space, and to them, space was like an ocean. The deeper one's understanding of the magical laws of space, the better they were at swimming. This palm strike seemed to cause the space between Ling Xiao and Dylan to vanish. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Ling Xiao. Rumble! Ling Xiao also threw out a punch. His terrifying physical strength exploded, but he felt as if he had collided with a huge mountain. Ling Xiao's arm went numb, and he suddenly retreated. The Supreme Being, Zhou Tian, could be said to have tempered his fleshly body with the magical laws of heaven and earth. Every move he made contained the power of magical laws. Although Ling Xiao's body of the heavenly dragon was strong, it wasn't strong enough to suppress the magical laws of heaven and earth. Therefore, even though Ling Xiao's physical body was unparalleled, he was severely injured, and the sky-devouring sword was still resisting the two Supreme Being weapons. He actually had no way to fight against Dylan. After all, the difference between them was too great. Ling Xiao was only at the 10th level of the noble realm. Although Dylan only had a Supreme Being Dharma body, he was comparable to a half-step Supreme Being who had undergone the tribulation of 4 symbols. Chapter 630. Dylan moved like a ghost, instantly appearing next to Ling Xiao and slamming his palm towards Ling Xiao's chest. Give up. You might be strong, but you're no match for me. Dylan's voice was calm and ethereal, as though he was talking to an ant. His voice carried a very casual feeling. A paragon Dharma body? Zhang Shuhao and the South Sky King were both shocked and delighted. They were happy that Ling Xiao was finally going to die. With a paragon Dharma body, Ling Xiao had no chance. But they were shocked that Emperor Tomb Mountain valued Ling Xiao so much that they were willing to use a paragon Dharma body to kill him. It seemed that Emperor Tomb Mountain really believed that Ling Xiao had the legacy of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Zhang Shuhao and the South Sky King's eyes flashed, but in the end, they gave up with bitter smiles. With a paragon Dharma body, they were probably just making a wedding dress for Emperor Tomb Mountain. Ling Xiao's battle against Dylan had put him in a very dangerous situation. Within Ling Xiao's body, Dylan's paragon Dharma body contained a deathly aura that could devour all life. Although Ling Xiao used the King Heaven Devourer Cauldron to refine it, he was unable to do so. And although Dylan only had a paragon Dharma body, when he attacked, there was a terrifying power of law. Ling Xiao's powerful body lost all advantages in front of Dylan. Boom! Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with battle intent. He suppressed his injuries while fighting Dylan fiercely. So what if he had a paragon Dharma body? As long as he wasn't a true paragon, he wasn't invincible. For the first time, Ling Xiao felt like he was walking on the edge of life and death. It was carefree, and it gave him a deeper understanding of the divine abilities he had learned. The void trembled, and the roar of a dragon filled the air. Ling Xiao punched out, colliding with Dylan's fist. His body flew backwards, his arm numb from the impact. Kid, don't struggle for no reason. You don't have a chance. Dylan said calmly. But in his heart, he was somewhat shaken. Although Ling Xiao wasn't a match for him, he was extremely talented in battle. He had an unyielding will to fight, and he was very good at learning through battle. Dylan felt a sense of urgency. He had to take Ling Xiao down as soon as possible. Kill! Ling Xiao only replied with a single word. Ling Xiao soared into the skies, activating the power of the celestial dragon's body. His entire body blazed with golden light, and one mysterious draconic scale after another spread out. He transformed into an enormous golden dragon that was 30,000 meters long, charging towards Di Lin. "You're courting death." A cold light flashed through Di Lin's eyes. His palm slammed down towards Ling Xiao. This palm blotted out the skies, as though the heavens and earth were about to collapse. Heaven and earth were about to be turned upside down, and the sun and moon lost their light. It contained the power of thunder. Sky-throwing seal. "This is my Emperor Tomb Mountain's supreme killing technique. Ling Xiao is dead for sure." The sixth saint's eyes lit up as he exclaimed emotionally. The legendary cataclysmic seal was evolved from the ancient divine weapon, the cataclysmic seal. It contained an earth-shattering power. This was the peerless divine ability which Di Lin was most proud of. Even in a battle against autarchs, this heaven-flipping seal technique wasn't inferior in any way. Rumble. The heavens and earth shook, and a dragon's roar shook the heavens. A vast draconic aura exploded outwards. The enormous golden dragon and the cataclysmic seal battled fiercely. However, the cataclysmic seal's divine ability was too terrifying. In the end, the enormous golden dragon was shattered. Ling Xiao fell from the skies. Blood flowed from the corners of his mouth, and his aura was incomparably weak. However, his eyes were unprecedentedly bright. Facing Di Lin, who was charging towards him with the devouring seal, Ling Xiao's entire body shone with resplendent light. The devouring true fire instantly rose up. The surrounding heavens and earth actually began to burn with raging flames. Within the endless sea of flames, Ling Xiao seemed to have transformed into a phoenix bathed in golden flames. He was enveloped in multicolored light, and a profound concept of life and death emanated outwards. True Phoenix Nirvana technique. With my tribulation body, I won't enter the cycle of reincarnation, won't be tainted by life and death. I'll break through the heavens and return to battle the heavens once more, Ling Xiao chanted softly. His entire body seemed to be enveloped by a layer of divine light. Under the raging flames, his entire body began to burn. Chirp. Phoenix cries filled the heavens. A true phoenix was born. This was the first time Ling Xiao had used the true phoenix secret technique. Using the devouring true fire, he used the nirvana technique. Instantly his body, including the autarka's source energy within his body, as well as his wounded meridians, all began to burn. However, this burning wasn't destruction. Instead, it was a form of rebirth. Ling Xiao's life source energy became even more majestic. His body was being reconstructed within the raging flames. Like a new life, it emitted endless vitality. Rumble. The mysteries of the true Phoenix secret technique flowed within Ling Xiao's heart. Vaguely, there was a tendency for it to fuse with the ancestral dragon secret technique. Behind Ling Xiao, an enormous golden dragon soared into the sky. The true phoenix spewed out raging flames. The dragon and the phoenix were auspicious. The power of the dragon and the phoenix intertwined and gathered within Ling Xiao's body. An incomparably terrifying power began to awaken within Ling Xiao's body. What? How can you know the true Phoenix Nirvana technique of the Phoenix clan? Di Lin's face was shocked. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Just now, Ling Xiao had not only used the Dragon Clan's peerless divine ability, but now he had also used the true Phoenix Nirvana technique to completely refine the autarka's source energy within Ling Xiao's body. Moreover, the power of the fusion of the dragon and the phoenix made Di Lin's heart tremble. I know a lot more. Let's use your autarka's celestial body to test my dragon and phoenix nirvana technique. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. He smiled faintly and instantly moved. Rumble. He leaped into the sky. His body was surrounded by a dazzling golden light. It was as if he had transformed into a giant whirlpool. Endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth was being devoured by him. Behind him, the true dragon and true phoenix intertwined. A mysterious power gathered on his fist. Then he suddenly punched out. Kacha! The entire sky was filled with blazing lightning. When Ling Xiao's fist landed, the surrounding space instantly shattered, and an extremely profound ripple spread out, instantly enveloping Dylan within it. How is this possible? Dylan's scalp instantly went numb. His eyes were filled with incomparable fear. It was as if he had been frozen. When Ling Zhao's fist landed on his body, he actually did not have any time to resist. Buzz. A strange wave of energy spread out. Dylan's body was like quicksand. He instantly turned into dust and completely disappeared from the world. Zhang Shuhao, the sixth saint, and the Southern Sky King were completely dumbfounded. Their eyes were filled with incomparable fear. Dylan's autarch celestial body was destroyed by Ling Xiao just like that? This was too hard to believe. They felt as if they were in a dream. They did not dare to believe everything that had happened in front of them. What was that power that shook the heavens and earth when the dragon and phoenix attacked together? Chapter 631. Ling Xiao hovered there in the air, his true energy completely drained. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron shone with dazzling light as it absorbed the quintessence energy of heaven and earth. Ling Xiao frowned. The combination of the secret skills of the ancestral dragon and true phoenix had destroyed Dylan's paragon dharma body with a single blow. But now that he thought about it, he couldn't remember how it had been done. So, a combination of secret skills can unleash such terrifying power? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. Although it was just a flash of inspiration in the midst of a life and death crisis, and he could no longer unleash that shocking blow, Ling Xiao vaguely saw infinite hope in the path of fusing secret techniques. If he could master the power of a combination of secret skills, then once he reached the paragon level, he would definitely be able to slaughter gods and exterminate devils. Run! This kid is too freakish. He's impossible to deal with. He definitely got the legacy of the Scarlet Dragon War God. That kind of power is beyond the power of a normal person. Zhang Shuhao, Holy Sun Sixth, and Heavenly King South were trembling, and their eyes were filled with terror as they prepared to flee. It's too late for you to leave now. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he said indifferently, no matter what, these people had to die. None of them could be left alive. Rumble! Ling Xiao shot through the air. Although he couldn't unleash the power of a combination of secret skills, his true phoenix nirvanic rebirth had restored his fleshly body to its peak. He was so strong that a single fist strike from him could shatter a mountain. Zhang Shuhao's arm exploded into a mist of blood, and he screamed as Ling Xiao stabbed him in the forehead and used the King Heaven Devourer cauldron to devour his nascent divinity. Zhang Shuhao's Paragon Dao mark was now completely drained, and he stood no chance against Ling Xiao. You'll die a horrible death, Ling Xiao. The Emperor Tomb Mountain won't let you get away with this, Ling Xiao. Heavenly King South and Holy Sun Sixth knew that Ling Xiao wasn't going to let them off the hook, so they fought back viciously. Ling Zhao's expression was cold, and he ignored them completely. Fist light descended toward the foreheads of the Holy Sun and Holy Sun South. The South Sky King and the Sixth Saint Child wanted to activate the Supreme Dao marks on their foreheads, but Ling Xiao was already prepared. The wordless heavenly scripture descended with a rumble and suppressed the two Supreme Dao marks. Not long after, the Southern Heavenly King, the Sixth Saint Child, and the two half-supremes who came with the Southern Heavenly King were all killed by Ling Xiao. When the South Sky King and the Sixth Saint died, they were extremely unwilling and fearful. Perhaps they even regretted going against Ling Xiao. Unfortunately, their nascent divinities had already been devoured by the King Heaven Devourer cauldron, and in the end, not even their true spirits were left behind. Even Ji Zun has started to target me? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He felt an urgent need to increase his strength. He was no match for Ji Zun now. Not to mention, Ling Xiao had offended quite a few holy lands. Star Palace, Nantian Aristocratic Family, Emperor Tomb Mountain, Precious Treasure Pavilion, maybe Daming Temple and many others, as well as many hidden people who coveted Ling Zhao's treasures. First, I need to extract the divine abilities from their nascent divinities. Ling Zhao's eyes glittered. Zhang Shuhao, the Sixth Saint Child, and the South Sky King were all considered geniuses, so it was only natural that their nascent divinities contained seeds of boundless divine abilities. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron shone with dazzling light, and no matter how Zhang Shuhao and the others screamed, the stars in their nascent divinities were extracted. Formless sword energy. Heaven sword 36 forms. Myriad magic heart-binding magic. Heaven tomb incantation. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with delight. He had discovered a total of 36 boundless divine abilities from the 3 of them, as well as the 2 half-paragons. Of course, after eliminating the 10 that had already merged, there were still 26 left. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit devoured these 26 supreme divine abilities, and the number of supreme divine abilities in Ling Zhao's primordial spirit reached a shocking 86. 86 types of supreme divine abilities. This was definitely an incomparably shocking number. Within those divine abilities were seeds of complete laws, and they were the foundation of one's future path on the martial path. After being reborn, Ling Xiao had decided to use the 108 divine abilities as his foundation to forge a supreme foundation of the martial path. He wanted to form a Dharma idol that could shake the heavens and earth. Ling Xiao could sense that the world around him was becoming clearer and clearer. Threads of laws filled the air, and multicolored auras flowed. It was a mysterious and unfathomable sight. The cultivation of the martial path was nothing more than the pursuit of the mysteries of heaven and earth, and the process of understanding one's true self. The mysteries of heaven and earth were boundless, and compared to heaven and earth, a person was like a drop in the ocean. However, it was precisely because there were so many unknowns that people would forever pursue the path of cultivation. They wanted to explore the ultimate secrets of heaven and earth. In the noble realm, one cultivated divine abilities of the martial path. The so-called divine abilities of the martial path were the manifestation of the laws of heaven and earth. The deeper one's understanding of the laws, the wider one's future path on the martial path would be. Therefore, even though Ling Xiao felt like he could break through to the monarch realm at any time, he suppressed it because he still hadn't reached his limit. Since the channel opening realm, Ling Xiao strove to cultivate every single realm to the limit and pursue perfection. An Exalt Dharma body has come from the Emperor Tomb Mountain, so the other sacred grounds of the martial path might have Exalt Dharma bodies as well. It's fine if they don't offend me, but if they dare to offend me, then contribute your supreme divine abilities. Ling Xiao spoke indifferently while a sharp glow flickered in his eyes. He thought of the Star Palace, Daming Temple, Sky Demon Palace, and so on and so forth. All of these sacred grounds of the martial path more or less carried hostility towards him. The old goat has awakened? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, and he revealed a trace of pleasant surprise. He instantly transformed into a ray of light that entered the Empyrean stone. The scene within the Empyrean stone wasn't chaotic like before. Ling Xiao had refined the Empyrean stone and become its master, and the world within the Empyrean stone had started to slowly take shape. It was a world with beautiful mountains and clear waters. Mountain ranges rose and fell continuously, and it was grand and majestic. Ancient trees towered into the sky and shot into the sky. There were mountains, rivers, lakes, and oceans. The mountains and rivers were magnificent, and they were filled with dense natural energy. All sorts of strange flowers and herbs grew endlessly within the Empyrean stone, and they grew extremely swiftly under the nourishment of the natural energy. This was the future base that Ling Xiao intended to leave for the longevity sect. In the future, the longevity sect would be located within the world within the Empyrean stone. Perhaps even the War God Temple did not have such a great fortune to have a complete world as their base. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.